ABC Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
AFL.
This is just getting good at the G.
Sometimes you've just got to sit back and enjoy the show.
Roll up, it's time for the show. Forget everything that you know. You ain't seen nothing like this. It's impossible to resist.
To win the game for Collingwood. Elliott kicks. He kicks. He goes.
You ain't seen nothing like this.
The lefty for goal. He's got it.
From 40, brings it back for Debutant. 51 metres out. Goes bang.
Sets the crowd alight.
Is it too far out? It's carrying. Oh my! What a finish.
Grandstand AFL.
Towards the pocket. Oh, beautiful play and Mark to Danaher.
What a mark.
From long range. You catch.
The master to the apprentice from 50. Goes bang.
Catches if you can.
That is some sort of finish.
This is awesome.
Fires, goes, brilliant.
We're gonna be kids.
He shoots goalward. Jamara's kicked it. What a breakout night for the number one pick.
Brings it back superbly. Oh, he's a star.
Charging through 50 to finish. He does.
Never looks like missing.
It's just magnificent.
It's on its way. It looks pretty good. It sails through. He points to the crowd to celebrate.
He's hit it pretty well. Jack Rebold. Superstar.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Wheels around and kicks the sealer.
What a game of footy. One of the all-time greats, that is.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Close to 90,000 are expected at the MCG today for the blockbuster finals decider between Carlton and Collingwood. The Blues season goes on the line today. Win and you're in. Otherwise, you rely on Hawthorn upsetting the Western Bulldogs. The Bulldogs leading by only 3 points at halftime, and the Blues would then hang on to feature in finals for the first time since 2013. For Collingwood, they're also playing for a spot in the top four and a double chance on the line in the final day of the home and away season, and Sydney playing for top two against St Kilda in the final match of the round. There's still so much to play for, and we'll bring it to you on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital. Great day for your company. I'm Matt Clinch alongside Corbin Middlemass. There's just that little feel of September in the air, and outside the MCG it is humming, so we can't wait for what's to come this afternoon. There's no shortage of breaking news. Firstly to the teams. Sam Walsh is a late out for the Blues. You would have heard that in the footy forum with Clint Wheldon, Mark Duffield and Jake Nile. So he's been replaced by Lockie O'Brien. Jack Nunes is the medical sub for the Blues, and Ollie Henry is the sub for the Pies. And the news that came through around half an hour ago, the Essendon Football Club, their board of directors have today made the decision to part ways with senior coach Ben Rutten, effective immediately. So much to work through. Colby, welcome to you.
Thanks, Clinchy. Without any hyperbole, it may be the biggest home and away game of all time. Without any hyperbole, there have only been 14 home and away games in the history of VFL AFL footy that have had a crowd over 90,000. This has been sold out since Monday. You cannot get a general admission ticket. Scalpers are trying to flog them for around $400 to get a single seat to watch the game this afternoon. And out of the 14 home and away games that have had a crowd of over 90,000, 9 of them have been Anzac Day fixtures. Just to put it in some kind of context, 10 of them have happened since 1995. So although a lot of people sort of look back on the old days with sort of rose-coloured glasses, we have never had an occasion quite like this, with Carlton needing to win to make the 8, Collingwood needing to win to make the top 4, and they share 125 years of history between them. It is going to be a special afternoon of the footy, and it already feels like a big-time event. As you make your way here, some 2 hours before the start of the game, there were people flowing through Yarra Park. So it feels like a real privilege to be here at the MCG today.
Two of the big Melbourne clubs, their supporter groups admired for their size and their passion, but they had not met in a final since 1988. They played in 6 grand finals. Carlton have been successful on 5 occasions, but We haven't seen the best of Collingwood and Carlton for almost 30 years, which makes this afternoon so exciting. Your experts, as you've heard throughout the season on a Sunday afternoon, Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy. Lids, welcome to you.
Oh, thanks, Clinchy, and I've been excited about this one all week. I'm looking forward to just being out in the box and being out there. Firstly, Corbs, as we walked in, you just spoke about, there's a real air about springs in the air. You know, finals footy's upon us just about, and to have something on the line today, given that the Dogs are just in front at the moment, it's pretty exciting, Murph. And I look across and see how anxious he is, given the news that's just come across our desk with Sammy Walsh being laid out. So I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but I'm excited nonetheless.
No, we've had our eyes on this game for probably 3 or 4 weeks, haven't we? We thought, let's hope that we have this final game of the home and away season where Collingwood are trying to get a top 4 spot and Carlton are trying to get a top 8 spot for the first time in 9 years. So hasn't been a great start for the Blues today because Sam Walsh is obviously a huge out, and it will leave a big hole in that midfield because he's certainly the one midfielder in there that is their running, gut-busting type player. So he'll be missed, but it'll just be up for someone else or everyone else to pitch in to cover that little gap. But it's almost like the wind's been taken out of a few of the sails of a few Carlton supporters so far. And as you said, Lids, all eyes are on the Hawthorn and Bulldogs game at the moment.
It's the 13th Richard Pratt Cup between these two sides. Murph, you're fresh into the media, having only retired at the end of last season. What's the emotional level as you sit down to watch your old team this afternoon?
I've been pretty good all week. I've been really positive about the way in which they played last week against Melbourne. I thought that was probably their best game of the year without getting the win. I think to run the Demons really close, and they should have really held on. To miss that opportunity last week was disappointing, but I thought they got back to playing their hard nose style of football, and I think Harry looked a lot better. Charlie was a little bit wayward. They're going to rely on both of those guys today to get the win, but I thought it was probably one of their best performances of the year. So I came in pretty bullish today. Obviously Sam Walsh going out of the side will hurt them, but if they make finals and beat Collingwood today, they've certainly earned it, haven't they?
We're going to take you inside both camps. We'll hear from Brad Lloyd, the footy manager for the Blues, and Jack Crisp, the Collingwood midfielder, will join us before the opening bounce. Before we take you inside the Carlton camp, just the breaking news that Essendon have parted ways with Ben Rutten. The statement coming through from David Barham. The unfortunate reality is at various stages of the season we have simply been uncompetitive, and while we acknowledge that we have an emerging playing list, we were compelled to make the decision. What was your immediate response when you heard the news, Lids?
Look, I'm not surprised. It's sort of waking up this morning and seeing that vision of Truck in the rooms in tears. It was almost like the writing was on the wall. So it's not a huge shock, but I'm disappointed with the handling of the whole thing, purely because I know Ben as a person and how strong he is in terms of his beliefs and what he was trying to achieve with that club. So I'm disappointed, and I'll tell you what, they'd want to be getting a damn good coach to replace him, because I think they've lost a good one already.
It's been a messy week, hasn't it? So
Huge.
I think as soon as Monday hit, it was getting ugly, and it's gotten uglier ever since, hasn't it? So there's only been the one real positive of the week, and that's been Michael Hurley playing his last game and seeing those scenes last night. But you feel for Ben Rutten and his family, because it's been a nightmare week, but at least it's all over for him and he can move on now.
It's hard to think it could be bungled more completely in the way that they've handled it during the week. It's unbelievable to think that a coach's sacking would be dragged out like that across a week, and then it's just completely dominated the football landscape when we should be focused on a game like this, and the decision comes down, half an hour and a half before the game starts.
So expecting the Bombers to front the media shortly. We'll bring you some of that as it takes place. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio alongside Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass with you for Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital. The final member of our team, we're fortunate to have him on a Sunday afternoon. Tim Hodges is with us, and we can head straight inside the Carlton camp. Hodgie, welcome.
Hello, Matt. Hi, guys. Nice to be with you. It's breaking news of our own down here. Brad Lloyd's been good enough to join us, the Carlton footy boss, and unfortunately Sam Walsh hasn't come up for this game. This is, it's a shame for the occasion, but especially your team and your chances of making finals.
It is disappointing. Disappointing for the club and for Sam. He had some back soreness, and he was trying to work through that at training, but didn't quite get up this week. So, we've had next man up philosophy all year, so next player comes up. So Lockie O'Brien comes in.
So how close was it? It's back back tightness, is that what we're calling it? And I mean, did you give him sort of about 20-30 minutes ago to try and prove he was okay?
Yeah, we left it pretty late, to see if we can get him up. Yeah, back tightness, that just affects the power and the running, so didn't quite get there.
Just the occasion. It is 90,000 plus. It's the most magnificent day for football. What is the vibe like down in the rooms for your team for this afternoon? For the stakes so big.
Oh yeah, it feels like a really special time of the year. We've wanted to play as a footy club in these sort of games for a long time. Also stuck in traffic jams at 11 a.m. trying to get into the VFL game, which the boys had a good win in the VFL. So really good feel. Great vibe in the rooms, and the games you want to be in amongst. So the players are pretty excited.
It's such a vibe down here on the boundary. I'll send you upstairs. We've got Brett Deledio and Mark Murphy, who would have loved an occasion like this. Boys, Brad's got the cans on.
Lloydie Murphy, good luck today. Zach Williams has obviously missed the last 12 or 13 weeks. What's his last month to 6 weeks look like in terms of training wise? And he's obviously he's put his hand up to play today. How's his last block of training been?
Oh, look, he's been training pretty hard, and as you know, you can sort of build up match-type conditions at training. He did make a comment to me a week ago that he felt he could play, so he sort of felt like he was ahead of schedule there. So, he's had a really good block of training, and he's really ready to go, pretty excited. So he's a quality player. He's played great finals footy over his years at GWS, where he's a great inclusion for us.
So he's obviously likely to play off a half-back flank. Does that mean that we'll probably see Sam Doherty play more through the midfield like last week?
Yeah, it gives us that flexibility for Doc to have a bit of a run through on ball and and sort of swap around as we go. But he gives us flexibility for sure.
And how much positivity has there been around the football club? Obviously this week played such a great brand of football last week against Melbourne and just came up short. But the Charlie Curnow signing of 6 years. The game last week, it was probably heartbreaking in the end to get pipped, but I thought it was a really real belief builder, the game, just to get back to playing the way we know he can play. So that was brilliant. And Charlie, the signing, look, we know his story. He's had a tough couple of years, but been outstanding this year. Had a super year. You forget how good he is as a player, and what we've seen, some real magical things this year. So signed for 6 years, really loved character around the place, so everyone was thrilled. Gave us a huge lift on the last couple of days.
Brett Deledio here. We don't usually speak about a first-year player in such glowing terms. You probably had one yourself in Sam Walsh there at the Blues, but Nick Dacos, he's been unbelievable up half-back. Does he get any time put into him today?
Oh, look, they've got some real talent across the board. So, we'll certainly keep an eye on him, definitely. But, they've got a pretty even spread of players. So, there's a couple we've got to keep an eye on. And then, the main thing we also want to do is play our really strong brand of footy, which we played last week. So, it's a bit of a balance, but we'll look at it in both ways.
And you've had a pretty horrid run with injuries right throughout this year. Is that something that you guys will be looking to review a bit at the end of the year?
Oh, look, it's a combination of things. You look at it. Look, we have had a lot of collision-based injuries, which are hard to manage, and they're sort of you sort of have a look at the patterns and things like that to see if there's anything in that, and so we'll have a look across the board, injuries, but look at everything every year, what worked, what didn't, sort of recommendations. So we'll have a bit of a look, but there's been a lot of collision-based ones, so make sure we have some really good pre-seasons into the group, because that's normally a really good indicator as well.
Carlton footy boss Brad Lloyd with us on Grandstand AFL. Brad, it's Corbin Middlemass here. I know you're locked in on the game, but Hodgie asked you about the occasion, and you can see people sort of sitting right at the back of the grandstand. So it could be one of the biggest crowds we've ever had for a home and away game. Have you been involved in a bigger regular season fixture in your time in footy?
No, not personally. No, it's enormous, absolutely enormous. You can really feel it. You can feel it even with the club sort of opening up the master plan, and the club cafe opening, and sort of people starting to buzz around the place with a new shop. But sort of you can feel it around Icon Park, and absolutely enormous today. You couldn't believe how I thought I'd sort of sit quietly and watch the VFL arriving, but had to go up and watch in the coaches box with the VFL coaches because there was nowhere to sit at an early hour. So it's absolutely huge. Great for both clubs, but it's what we've wanted.
We've had 22 completed rounds, and Carlton have been inside the top 8 at the end of each of them. And now we're in the final round of the regular season, and you're playing for your spot in the finals. Harry Mackay said a couple of weeks ago that the season is a success regardless of what happens in the back end of the year. Will you still consider 2022 a success if it doesn't go your way today?
Oh, look, I want to play finals. I've just been desperate to play finals all year, so that's the focus for me. Yeah, look, we'll sort of review those things once the game's done and once the season's finished. But want to certainly be playing finals footy. We've got the opportunity if we can get the job done today. So that's where my mindset is.
And Brad, as we let you go, was there a theme or a narrative around Michael Boss's message this week?
Oh, look, it's really just. We were pretty buoyed by despite the loss, by the way we played last week. So it's making sure we bring that again. If we can bring that again, we'll be right in the contest. So yeah, Bossie's a beauty, a combative coach. The way he goes about it, the boys play for him. So hopefully we see that today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for your time. Good luck this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you.
Brad Lloyd, the Carlton footy boss, joining us on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital. So the comments have been thrown around during the week. Murph, if they weren't to qualify for finals, it would be a choke, a wasted season, having started the year 8-2, 10-4 by the bye. How would you assess it?
I wouldn't assess it as a choke, but I would agree with what Lloydie said. He didn't necessarily say it wasn't a success, but I think if you read between the lines of what he just said there, I think he feels that they need to play finals for it to be considered a successful season, because when they're sitting there at 8-3, you'd think they should play finals, but they've had their injury issues over the journey and held up quite well considering. But yeah, to beat Collingwood today, I think if they lose today, I think it'd be a really disheartened change rooms, a disheartened football club after that period. I think it won't hurt them necessarily down the track, but I think it's really important for the football club and a lot of the players out there, especially a guy like Paddy Cripps, who he's been through the ringer early on in his career. He's had such a successful start individually with his career, but team-wise, he hasn't had that opportunity to play finals football yet. So this is the biggest game that he's ever played in, and no doubt he wants it to continue in the weeks to come. So I think from my point of view, and a lot of Carlton people, it's crucial that they win today and experience that final series.
Does the occasion have something to do with it? I know I've emphasised it a lot on the amount of people that are going to be here and what the day is going to mean. Collingwood do play in these games a lot. They play on Anzac Day, they play in the Queen's Birthday game, whereas Carlton, obviously, their main home ground is at Docklands, and they come here today in front of a massive occasion, and they've got it all to lose. They're playing for their spot in the finals. 19 of the Carlton 23 today haven't played finals, so only 4 of them have experienced finals footy in the past. They are playing for a lot, and why they play footy, compare that to Collingwood, they've got only 7 guys that haven't played finals in the past.
Yeah, look, I think experience is obviously important, but I think the last 3 weeks have all been finals-like games for Carlton. I think especially last week, being at the Grandier last week, there was 55,000 playing against the reigning premiers and getting so close and feeling that emotion of losing last week. That was like a final for them, so I hope for their sake they weren't too disheartened at the start of the week and lost a bit of hope, because there's obviously a lot to play for today, and they win today and it takes care of itself. But yeah, I don't think the fact that they haven't played finals in terms of big games as well is going to hurt them. They're out here quite a bit playing against Richmond and Collingwood and Essendon, so they get to experience big crowds out here, but there's nothing like playing in front of 90,000 at the G. So it certainly feels like a finals game walking in here, doesn't it? So I was driving through the city at probably 10:30, 11. There was people, walking around with their scarves on of both clubs, and you can just feel it all week that there's been a huge build-up. It's sunny, it's finals-like weather, and it's all set for a huge game. I'm just so disappointed for Sam Walsh, who just give anything to be out there today. So I've got no doubt it's quite not a serious back issue, but I tend to think it'd be a back spasm, which is something that.
So you obviously know him well as a person.
Yeah.
He's played out of 83 games, he's missed 2. Missed round 1 this year, and this is only the second time he's missed since making his debut.
Yeah, you just got to feel flat for him. I know he's only early on in his career, and there'll be lots of finals opportunities hopefully for him, but you just never know with what happens in football. So for him to only have missed 2 games so far in his career, and for him to miss today, I think he would be, so upset about that. But he's got to rely on his teammates to get the job done, and that gives him an opportunity to play his first final in a couple of weeks.
His teammates plus an extra 22 that are down in Tassie at the moment that are helping you out a fair bit. But I always found, I reckon the biggest game that we probably both played in, correct me if I'm wrong, but that final here, 2013, this bit was okay, because you're like, I've seen a crowd not too dissimilar to this. But then when you run out for the first time, and that noise, it still gives me tingles thinking about the theme songs are on, and your supporters belting it out, like that's when you're like, whoa, right, this means a fair bit. So the team that can settle the quickest will be the team that will be able to, probably hopefully jump the opposition and get their game style up and going. But that's what I'm nervous about for more so Carlton than I am Collingwood at the moment.
Yeah, you're spot on, because if you look around the ground now, you know that it's going to be a packed stadium, but there's still, it's still littered with empty seats, so to speak, and it is the warm-up. But then once you go into the rooms and then do your final warm-up, you might have your last address by the coach, and you know that when you walk out for that first bounce, the stands are going to be packed. And you go back to that final in 2013, you see, black and yellow throughout the whole stand, a little bit of navy blue in patches, so that was the way it was back then. But today, obviously the Carlton home game, if you like to feel a lot of navy blue, but there's always a lot of black and white out there as well. So the roar is going to be enormous, and I can't wait for it.
Carlton captain Patrick Cripps playing in his 150th ninth game. He's never played in a final, so he's one of many for the Blues who are hoping to change that piece of history this afternoon. Although there's a bit taking place in Tassie and Launceston. Chris Rowbottom is keeping us across it. Chris, third quarter action, welcome to you.
Yeah, g'day guys. 12 and a half gone in the third term here, and an intriguing battle unfolding. Hawthorn lead the Western Bulldogs. In fact, scores are now level. Hawthorn 9-56. The Western Bulldogs 8-56. It was a goal fest in the second term. 10 goals kicked, 6 goals to the Western Bulldogs and 4 goals to Hawthorn. The Dogs took a 3-point advantage into the third term, but the Hawks have the only major so far of the third term. It come via Jack Gunston, who has 4 for the game. The Dogs now with a chance as they go inside forward 50 to Norton off the boot of Ugle-Hagan, and Aaron Norton will have a chance to kick his third and put the Bulldogs in front. It'd be the 6th lead change of this match. A seesawing affair. Now, we know the Bulldogs need to win if there to be any chance of playing finals. They need Carlton to also lose to Collingwood, but they also need to win by a decent sort of margin. They need to win healthily by 3 or 4 goals. They're a full percentage point behind Carlton as it stands. So Norton comes in, left foot ball towards goal. It's across the face, a minor score, but the Dogs do have the lead. They're 8-9-57 to Hawthorn 9-56 here in Launceston. The Hawks are trying hard for Carlton supporters all around the country.
Thank you, Chris. We're going to stay close throughout the afternoon. We might be biting our fingernails as that game's about to finish and our game's reaching the second quarter. So Chris Rowbottom there keeping us across Hawthorn and the Western Bulldogs. Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio, Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass with you for Sunday afternoon footy on Grandstand AFL. We've been inside the Carlton camp. Let's now head inside the Collingwood camp. And a short time ago we had the chance to catch up with Jack Crisp from the Magpies with Tim Hodges down on the boundary.
Clinchy, this is so good. Such a magnificent day for football. It's hard not to be excited. It's so good to have Jack Crisp from the Magpies join us before going out into battle today. Jack, can I ask you, what are the excitement levels like? I know you're playing so many big games, but is today a bit different to normal?
Yeah, thanks for having me first, guys. But it's obviously very exciting. One, we've got great weather for it, but two, obviously, I think it's been quite a big build-up throughout the whole week, and we're embracing it for what it is. I'm sure Carlton are the same, but as we can see, we've got the VFL playing here for a big excitement pre-match, and then I can't wait to get stuck in. It's going to be hot contested footy.
Do you talk about the stakes? Like everyone in football is talking about the high stakes today. Do you mention it? Is it up on the whiteboard? Has it been a theme during the week, or is it just try and get the processes right and get the 4 points?
Yeah, no, we haven't really focused on the outcome of the game. Like, we have spoken a lot this year about just kind of playing the game for what it is, and we embrace the moments when they come. Like, we've shown we've been able to do that throughout the year, but we don't focus on the outcome. We're just focusing on what it's going to be a big game, yes, and we're going to embrace the fight, embrace the challenge, and just play our brand of football for as long as we can.
You're playing so many big games. Anzac Day, you've got 70,000 most weeks here. But was last night a bit different when you put your head on the pillow thinking it is going to be monstrous tomorrow, especially with the stakes, but especially 90,000 potentially coming in today? The weather the way it is, it feels like September. Like it's, I don't know, it feels different.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I think.
But even down here on the boundary, it feels awesome.
Well, it does a little bit because you obviously talk about it being the end of the home and away season and what's in the next month coming up. But the weather definitely helps. It kind of feels like finals weather. It's a beautiful day for it. But yeah, I think I was going to bed last night a little bit excited and pretty happy and confident with how we've prepared. And just obviously can't wait to get stuck in. I'm just sick of waiting now, to be honest.
Are you confident?
Oh, I'm confident in our preparation. Yeah, I can't wait to see if we can dish it up for 4 quarters. We'd love to have that consistency all game. Would be really nice.
Jack has the cans on, guys. He's just watching the VFL in action as we speak. I'll send you upstairs. Mark Murphy and Brett Deledio.
Crispy, it's Lids.
Hey,
mate, I just want to know from your point of view, you know, obviously you sit down at the start of the year and you think, oh, well, I think we've got a pretty good list, we've had a good pre-season. But have you been surprised with how well you guys have actually gone this year, or is it just week by week rolling in and doing what you can do, or was it actually been a nice surprise?
No, well, personally, I've said to a lot of people, we had a bit of a belief anyway that we already had a reasonable good list. We just needed to find a way to kind of work together and get that connection and chemistry going. And Flyer has been able to do that. I think we have trained a lot of scenarios and different situations really well throughout the year. So when we were put in those situations in our the last 3 months, we were able to perform. So that definitely helps with what the coaching staff put together and how we executed throughout the week and then game day.
And your own form this year, mate, how have you seen that? And you've obviously played nearly 400 games in a row, but I just want to get your thoughts. Obviously going from half-back flank, spending a lot more time through the midfield. How have you seen your own form?
Yeah, I've been quite happy the way I've been going, to be honest. We play a totally different brand of football to what we usually play, and especially a lot more forward footy focused. So it definitely helps probably my style a little bit with the surge run forward and taking the game on, break the lines to see what we can do. But yeah, I've really enjoyed my time through the middle this year.
Crispy, Murphy, I was interested to know about the week leading in. Has it been sort of process-driven, or has it been touching on the rivalry of Carlton v Collingwood? What's Fly been like this week?
Yeah, he's been really good. Like, we spoke about it briefly after the Sydney game. Obviously it's going to be a big build-up by everyone outside of our 4 walls about what the game is going to be and the clash it's going to be, etc. But we haven't really touched on it too much, and probably until yesterday. Like, I just showed a little video about the rivalry and how good it is, because we do have to obviously acknowledge it because it has been going for such a long time and it is such a big game. So we did focus on it a little bit yesterday, but throughout the week it's just been all about us getting our process right and getting our preparation right. And have you lent much on Brendan Bolton this week? He's obviously knows quite a few of these players intimately, so have you lent on him for any inside advice on guys like Paddy Cripps and a Sam Walsh? He's actually been walking around with an extra kick in his step this week. He's been very excited and nervous at the same time, I reckon. So yeah, he's been great help for everybody. Has he been just a great teacher coming across? He's obviously known quite well and certainly an educator. Have you really enjoyed his style? Yeah, no, it's been good. Like, we've got Leper as well, and then Fly, who's also got a teaching pass. So the way they've been able to break things down this year and kind of simplify the way we want to play throughout the whole year in pre-season, it has just made it easy to understand for the older fellas and the younger guys, so we can all kind of gel together and help each other through it. So yeah, the way I've got, I can't talk highly enough about how they've done that this year. Has Leper's gags got any better, mate? Surely they're better than Bolters, I reckon. Nah, yeah, Bolters are pretty ordinary, but Leper's quite funny. But he just like no emotion on his face when he talks, and then he just does his little afterwards, which makes it quite funny.
He laughs at his own gag.
Yeah, everyone laughs at him, I think, not with him.
Nothing's changed then. That's great.
Yeah.
Jack Crisp is with us from the Magpies ahead of Collingwood and Carlton. Jack, it's Matt Clinch here. I mean, the momentum of the match, it feels like it's going to be a midfield battle for Carlton with their clearance and contest position work, and obviously Collingwood with their transition and their speed of ball. How do you see it unfolding in the middle of the ground where you play such a prominent role? Yeah, it's obviously going to be quite tough, contested. Like, we know Carlton are a really good stoppage team, and we've been quite poor in it recently, especially the centre bounce area, because it is like so important these days. So we're just going to have to roll our sleeves up and have a crack, hopefully win that contested battle, and then go from there. As long as we're putting pressure on, forcing wide, ugly exits, we'll be happy to bounce off that. And obviously, as last year's Copeland medalist, you'd have a bit of sway in the middle, but when Jordan De Goey wants to come in, does he get the right of way? Yeah, we'll let him come in. We know how important he is. He's just been such a pivotal player for us for the last couple of years when he comes in, because he's so strong, and he just finds a way to bullock his way through and win the ball for us and get it going forward. And Carlton's strength is obviously their forward line with Mackay and Curnow. How do you try and support Darcy Moore, obviously Jeremy Howe, Nathan Murphy in getting back and providing that catalyst that you don't see too many one-on-ones? Yeah, well, I think first and foremost we'll try and sub them up the ground, but if they do happen to get through, we'll try and get some numbers back to support, take away their leading lanes. We know they like to hit up a bit and then get the ball moving in their front half, so we'll try and slow them down as much as we can. And you played, as Hodgie mentioned, in a lot of finals in big games. Where does this sort of stack up for you? Does this feel as big as it gets for a home and away game?
Yeah, 100%. It's obviously got to be out there with all the Anzac days and the Queen birthdays that we've played in. The crowd is going to be probably unreal, and I probably won't be able to hear my teammate 5 metres away from me at stages, I'm sure, but it's all part of it, and it's going to be very exciting. It's probably going to drive a lot of blokes out there today to get that adrenaline going, keep them running hard.
Good on you, Jack. Thanks so much for your time. Best of luck
Thanks,
this
guys.
afternoon. Jack Crisp joining us from the Magpies. Great to have access to the players before the game. Our thanks to Nadine Rabar from Collingwood. It's a great luxury we get where we can chat to the guys who are about to participate in one of the biggest games of the home and away season. Just repeating the late news, if you've just flicked on the radio, Sam Walsh is out for the Blues and Lockie O'Brien comes in. So back soreness, unable to pass a fitness test, and the medical subs for this afternoon, Jack Nunes and Ollie Henry for the Magpies. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass to call all the action. Tim Hodges down on the boundary. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio are your experts. We're also keeping you across the events in Tassie, Hawthorn and the Western Bulldogs. Let's check in again with Chris Rowbottom.
Yeah, 22 and a half gone down here in the third term at York Park. Aaron Norton's third goal has put the Western Bulldogs up by 10. It's 9-12-66, the Bulldogs playing Hawthorn's 9-2-56. James Blank for the Hawks has just come from the ground getting assessed on the sidelines. Looks to be a left ankle that he's having strapped up, but looks to be okay. Jack Gunston has 4 for the Hawks. Ben McAvoy has 2 in his farewell game. The rain is starting to fall in Launceston, so goals becoming all the more valuable, but it is the Dogs by 10 points. 9-12-66, the Western Bulldogs to Hawthorn. 9-2-56, 23 minutes gone in the third term here in Launceston.
Thanks, Chris. We're going to stay close throughout the afternoon. Don't forget St Kilda and Sydney from Docklands to close out the final round of the home and away season. The Swans with a chance to move to second on the AFL ladder if they can win by 5 or 6 goals against the Saints there. So we'll take you there at the completion of this game. The entourages are starting to wander out onto the MCG, Murph. There's no surprise. There's a few around the Carlton banner. So a big game occasion and a few more keen to get involved and get out on the ground.
Finals must be close, aren't they?
A few blockbusters out there, I think. Just obviously just sniffed it out, and normally there's probably 15 to 20 of those die-hard Carlton supporters, the cheer squad, but there's a few more just starting to trickle their way onto the ground.
Just making a guard of honour for the players to run out and support the cheer squad if they need support. What's your over or under for the crowd? We normally have this game sort of in the first quarter. What are you thinking, Lids?
Oh, geez, I'd love to see it get close to 91, 92,000 is what I'm thinking off the top.
Well, what are you going to go with?
I'm going 92.
I'm going to go with 93, 400.
Okay. Wow, we're going into the hundreds.
Yeah, I'm just under 90, 89 for me.
Not 90 plus. So I'm going...
Well, that's boring. That's vague.
What are our previous guesses?
93, 94.
92.
Okay.
Yep, 92. Biggest Carlton Collingwood home and away season crowd ever is 88,000. So I think that's in real danger today.
We've got Gene Simmons out there introducing himself to the crowd.
Wow.
From Kiss.
That's exactly what we needed.
Yeah, that'll give us a lift.
Blues, let me hear ya!
Well, Gene, the planets have aligned. Here we are at a packed MCG, right next to what was a packed Rod Laver arena with Kiss fans. Talk to me. How you feeling?
We are so excited to be in your beautiful country. We're such big fans. We're going to be next door at Rod Laver for 3 nights. Yesterday was one. Tonight is another concert. And on Tuesday, the last show. Come on down and look at all the fun. That means you too.
I will be there, thank you. And in terms of...
Is that like a navy blue or black hat with a $sign bag on the front of it?
Yeah, he's cashing in. He's getting come down and have fun, he reckons. Yeah, all right. No worries, Gene. I'll see you down there.
Did he rock up at the Blues? There was some famous vision from YouTube that was being shown again this week that it might have been a bit of a skit.
Yeah, we've had some big names down at the Blues over the years, and Gene Simmons, he's right up the top of that. So we did a little training session with him, so hopefully he doesn't show the crowd how he handballs, because he was terrible back then from memory. But yeah, good to see the big fella introducing the match ball and trying to promote his tour, obviously.
Absolutely, no doubt with a crowd of over 80,000, so keen to promote that they're in town and in the country.
We were talking a lot about crowd numbers, Clinchy, so there's only been 2 crowds all year that have had over 80,000, so 84,000 for Anzac Day, Collingwood, Essendon. And the 3 of you were here for the last time these 2 teams played, which was Carlton, Collingwood, way back in round 11. There was just over 80,000 on that occasion, but generally a pretty good guide for these games. So when people start making their way in and sitting right at the back of the Foxford stand and the Southern stand, it is absolutely chockers already and has been a long way out. So a very special occasion and a bumper crowd for the biggest game of the home and away year.
So I've spoken a bit about Carlton from Collingwood perspective, having obviously changed their coach at the start of the season with Craig McRae. The Cinderella run of 11 wins on the trot came to a close last week against the Sydney Swans, who held them to their lowest score for the season, just 50 points. There was no Jordan De Goey, and Jack Ginnivan picked up an injury throughout the match. How do you see Collingwood on the eve of the finals with a top 4 spot on the line this afternoon?
Oh, well, look, if it gets close, I know who I'm tipping, given their run throughout this year. But what I've enjoyed is their ability to take the game on. When things get tight, they don't go into their shell, they don't try and save it. They actually go the other way, and they try and go quicker, more aggressive through the middle, and it almost catches teams on the hop, because they're thinking, maybe they'll play a bit safer, this will, play into our hands, but they actually challenge you, and they say, well, if we're going to go down, we're going down swinging, and I think that's almost Fly and Lepper's philosophy, is to say, well, you know what, we're just going to have a red-hot crack at this, and this year, regardless of how far they go, how deep they go, it's such a great learning curve for them, and the experience that they will have had, given the close losses, the big games, the close wins, the big games that they've played in. It's a terrific learning year, but they're just shooting from the hip, aren't they? Essentially, Collingwood, that they can just let it all hang out and go for broke.
Yeah, they are. They're a side that I've actually really enjoyed watching this year. So, yeah, they, as you said, Lids, they're so positive, they're so aggressive through the corridor, and that's one area of the game that I think that they'll really challenge Carlton's today is if they're allowed to off half-back flank, be able to just run and dash and kick and go through the corridor. Carlton's forward line have to really be on with their pressure today, because that's where a lot of their chains start from, isn't it? So, Nick Dacos is obviously the one that we've all looked at this year in amazement, obviously being a first-year player, but they're a really solid backline down there, and they all just get the job done. They know each other's game inside out at the moment, and that's really important for the playing down back, and to be able to do that underneath a new coach is, they've been, breathtaking to watch this year, to be honest, because they're finishing 17th last year, and to do what they've done, they've been so aggressive and so exciting. They've certainly made their fans really proud, and the top 4 spot beckons.
The Magpies have had 5 weeks in the top 4, the last 3 before round 22. And you've got to go back to 2019 when they last finished inside the top 4. They lost in the prelim final to the Giants. So you would have heard in the background, Collingwood have made their way out onto the MCG. Jordan De Goey is back. He's out there, and, Jack Ginnivan is right to go. So he takes his spot in the selected side. Bianco, Carmichael and Brown are out, with Ollie Henry, the medical sub for the Pies this afternoon, and Jack Nunes for the Blues, with Sam Walsh late out and Lockie O'Brien coming in. So the Blues are only a few moments away. We might just take this opportunity. Essendon have been holding a press conference as we speak. David Barham has fronted the media. Let's bring you a little bit of what he's had to say, starting by answering the question, have you spoken to James Hird?
Well, no, I haven't.
Do you expect to sound him out as a potential coach?
I won't be sounding anyone out, because there's a process. We're going to rely on a process, a really thorough process, to decide who our next coach is.
So, but aren't you doing it backwards in terms of the review? Should tell you what coach you need, getting a coach and then a review? How does that work?
Circumstances have changed a little bit, but we can do both things at the same time. We can effectively manage both processes at the same time. So we need to get on with the coach, because where we are. We also need to do a thorough review of the football club. So we can do both those things successfully at the same time.
Do you know at least whether you're after an up-and-coming coach or experienced coach? Have you narrowed that down at all?
We think we're after a more experienced coach. We think a more experienced coach might be able to get more out of this list, and we want to give our list the best chance.
Where do you see the list at?
It's a good question. And it's something we often talk about, but We think we've got ability, we think we've got promise, but again, that's something part of the review might turn up. But we do think we've got a good young list.
So that is the Essendon president, David Barham, speaking with the CEO, Xavier Campbell. So said we owe it to our fans, our supporters, our players and our staff and every single member of the Essendon family to give ourselves every chance of success, and that work starts now. So if you've just flicked on the radio, the Bombers Football Club Board of Directors met today and made the decision to part ways with senior coach Ben Rutten, effective immediately. Seems a little bit funny, Lids and Murph, that they're talking about a process, given the process hasn't really been evident over the last week.
Well, that's it. There was no process, and then all of a sudden there was. And it's such interesting timing, isn't it, given that you're basically putting your list together and getting everything sorted for next year. I know there's some time still, and this season's still yet to play out, but God, I would have thought you'd be wanting, as a big club, to be a little bit more solid this time of year, Clinchy.
So we'll continue to bring you any news that comes out from that press conference that is anything we haven't heard yet, but David Barham and Xavier Campbell, the CEO and president of the Bombers, fronting the media just before this game gets underway. The Blues have just broken through their banner here at the MCG, led by their captain, Patrick Cripps. Murph, what were you going through his mind as he readies himself to address his team for the last time?
I assume he'd be pretty focused on just getting himself right, just still 10 minutes to go before the bounce down. For the young guys, I think it's important to look around and just soak it all in, because a lot of them probably wouldn't have played in front of this type of crowd ever, and it certainly does feel like a finals game. So really take a good look, soak it in, and just believe that you've done all the work, believe in each other. But Paddy Cripps, I'm just really excited to see how he goes today, because I know he's been looking forward to this all year. And I know if you were to say as a Carlton fan, let's play Collingwood round 23 at 3:20, and if we win that, we play finals, I think everyone would probably take that.
Well, there's got to be an element of fear, though, that, I hope we don't stuff it up. You know, if it's in their hands, surely that thought goes through your mind at some stage.
I hope not, because if your fear of failure gets over the top of you, you're in a bad way. So I think a lot of the guys would have thought about this moment and visualised this all week, because a lot of focus goes into getting your body right, but more so you need to get your mental state really right. And I think a lot of guys would just be looking forward to the opportunity and really excited about showing their wares on the big stage and performing at the highest level. This is why you put in all that hard work, which you do over pre-season, and all those pre-season Ks that most guys, I'm not sure they like it, but they work so hard to get themselves in such a great position to be able to put their skills to the test on the big stage, and that's what today is.
Well, I was always a big believer in preparation and the 5 P's of success, Murph. Preparation prevents piss poor performance. And if you put the work in, you can rest assured that you go out there and you can be comfortable knowing that you've done the work. Whether the guys that go out there and hope that they're going to play well, hope that they've done the work, they're the ones that you usually find are a 3 to 5 out of 10, whereas you want to get everyone up around the 6 to 10 or 7 to 10, Don't have to have everyone a superstar and playing their 10 out of 10s, but can you get enough guys contributing and just doing what's expected of them, consistently executing the fundamentals? And that's where, that would most likely be the message from these coaches, to say, boys, yes, there's a big noise, big crowd, but there's going to be heat on the footy, but let's execute what we know, what we've got to do. And that's where, teams that have been here before do that a hell of a lot better than teams that haven't.
That's right, and I think they can take a lot of positives out of the way in which they played last week. I thought Will Setterfield was terrific on Clayton Oliver through the midfield last week. Jack Martin looked like he had that little spring in his step. I think he's a real cherry on top player for Carlton. Harry Mackay looked like he really meant business last week, had a few chase down tackles and played with a real aggressive manner, which is really what you want to see. Charlie Curnow was probably a little bit down, but he's been terrific all year and been so important. So the ones that I'm sort of a little bit worried about is Zachy Williams, who's missed 13 weeks of football. I know he would have put in a lot of time and a lot of effort over the last sort of 4 to 6 weeks to, get himself in a manner ready to play AFL football. He's an experienced player. He's been here on the big stage prior, so I know you've played a lot of football with him as well, Lids, and you said you're not too worried about him coming in off a really limited preparation. But what you do know is these AFL players, when they come back in, they've done a lot of work in training, but you can't replicate that to playing games of football. So he'll slot in nicely off a half-back flank where you can get that rest and recuperate. So I'd assume we'll see more of Sam Doherty through the midfield, and that's where he's warming up at the moment.
Warming up alongside Adam Chera, Patrick Cripps and Mark Pitnet, who got the nod over Tom De Koning. Always tough when you get to this stage of the season around selection.
It is, and Tom De Koning has been a revelation, so to speak, I think, for the Blues. I think for such a young ruckman, he's carried the load for such a long period of time and just looked a bit tired towards the back part of this year. So I would have probably given him a week off a few weeks ago and then really freshening him up, ready to go for finals. But they're believing in what Mark Pitnet is all about. He was terrific at the start of the year and then obviously did that PCL. So he'd be fired up. Another type of character that Mark Pitnet is, and he's made for these sort of stages. He's a real aggressive character, and that's what you want in the ruck. You want someone who's really aggressive and asserts himself on the game, and he's certainly that.
I always find it's easier to try and do the subtraction when you're trying to predict the crowd at the MCG. So if we're looking and we think the crowd's going to be 90,000, where are you meant to squeeze another 10,000 seats in at the moment? Or if you think it's around 80,000, there's certainly not 20,000 vacant.
No.
And we're still, a few minutes away from the bounce yet. Just on the recent form line between the two teams. So Carlton have only won 1 of their last 7 against Collingwood. They've only won 3 of their last 16 and 5 of the last 23. So wow. Collingwood have really had a stranglehold over Carlton in these games.
Means nothing though, Corby. With 2 new coaches, I know you've done a lot of work on your stats there. I'm sorry to dismiss you straight away, but... Two brand new coaches, new styles of playing. I think what you can go back to is obviously the game they played this year, which was a really close encounter and a game where we saw Jacob Wiedering do his shoulder, which there was no doubt that really stung them.
Well, here's one for you, Murph. The last time they met in the final round of the home and away season was 2004. Carlton won by a point. So
there you go. You can take that one home.
That'll be a real treat if 90,000 plus roll up today to watch a 1-point game.
Of course, for the Blues, if they win, they're in. There is another scenario where if the Hawks had upstaged the Western Bulldogs, they could hang on to their spot inside the top 8. Chris Rowbottom is keeping us across the events in Tassie. Chris.
Yeah, it's slowed up a little bit here in Launceston. 4.5 minutes gone in this 4th and final term. The Bulldogs lead by 4 points. It's 9-12-66 to Hawthorn 10-62. So remember, the Western Bulldogs need to not only win, but to also win by a healthy margin as they trail Carlton on percentage as well. So Hawthorn sort of hanging around. They trail by 4 points early stages in this 4th and final term in Launceston.
Thanks, Chris. So the live ladder in front of us has the Bulldogs on 107.8 percentage and the Blues on 108.8. So if the siren was to sound now, Carlton, even if they lost, would stay in the 8. Collingwood obviously playing for top 4.
By a small margin, though. So if Carlton lost, it needs to be by a small margin. So they can't get done by 4 or 5 goals, probably.
There you go. Absolutely.
Murph's across it, isn't he? I've been sweating on this all week.
I think he's done a bit of ladder predictor during the week, but maybe not. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio alongside Matt Clench and Corbin Middlemass to call the action. Tim Hodges down on the boundary. So final thoughts are just a couple of minutes away before the opening bounce. Where do you think this game's going to be decided? Lids and Murph?
Well, I'd say Murph, it's always in the middle of the ground, but what I'm actually looking for is what we spoke about just before, is the small forwards and the forward line of Carlton to be able to put enough pressure on and not allow Collingwood to get their game up and going and their fast ball movement from the back end. You know, if you can restrict Dacos and Maynard, Noble coming off that half back line, let Darcy Moore have too much of an impact. I'm looking forward to that matchup too. Hopefully he goes to Charlie Curnow. But if you're a Carlton supporter, you're wanting them to put a heap of pressure on and your mids to squash down and keep it in your front end.
Yeah, I'm looking at the clearances because I think when Carlton have been really pressured hard, because they tend to flick the ball around a lot by hand, that when the pressure comes, they can turn it over. So I think it's really important at the start of this game that when Carlton do get their hands on the ball, that they get yardage and get the ball forward early, because Collingwood are certainly at their best, and when their pressure and their tackling around the contest is always there. That's been a constant this year. So if Carlton tend to handball the ball too much early, I think that plays into Collingwood's hands. So I think we'll get a good indication in the first 4 or 5 minutes. But I think you're right. I think the forward line of Carlton need to be... The defensive pressure needs to be at a really high standard today, because I think that's where a lot of the scoring opportunities arise from the Collingwood defenders.
The Blues had 87 tackles last week against the Demons. They averaged 55 for the season. So that'll be the interesting gauge for the pressure against the Pies in the opening stages. The final member of our team sitting in the front row of the grandstand, Tim Hodges, welcome once again.
It is awesome, Clinchy, to be here. A real honour to be on the boundary today. Just the most amazing atmosphere. Patrick Cripps won the toss. The Blues will kick to the city end. It's only a light swirling breeze. Just on the crowd, general admission sold out at the start of the week. The MCC members sold out. The corporate is sold out. That only really happens on grand final day. It's a magnificent sunny Sunday, so we are absolutely on track for 90,000 plus. And it is a real Carlton crowd as well. It is their home game, so the Blues definitely outnumber the Pies. Just repeating the late change, it's a huge one. Sam Walsh is out with that back injury. Lockie O'Brien comes into the 22. The subs for the Blues, Jack Nunes for the Pies, Ollie Henry. Let's hope this game is an absolute ripper, boys.
Thank you, Hodgie. There's nothing like a packed MCG. It's all to play for. Collingwood at Carlton from the MCG.
Pitternet and Cameron contest the opening bounce. Pitternet swats it down, but it's Pendlebury for the Magpies. Collects the yellow shirt and kicks it to centre half forward. Bouncing footy out in front of Young. He's bowled over, but Saad collects. Slick hands away to Louis Young. Hand pass to Stocker. Beats one tackle. Caught the second time. McCreary got him. Said he got a hand pass away. McRae for the Magpies. Hand pass to Elliott. His kick smothered. Mark got a hand on it. Marchbank. It spills its way through to Young again. His surge kicks chopped off, and Maynard takes the intercept mark for Collingwood, left half forward right on the 50.
Well, Brazzy's got a massive left boot on him, hasn't he? He's turned his back on the goal move, which is interesting early, but I don't mind it because he says to his boys, let's just calm down a little bit here. We've got that nice easy mark. Can we go back and just get a nice controlled set shot on this game?
So Braden Maynard to load up. He's dropped punt, sails goalward. What a strike for the first of the game. Maynard from long range, an effort from Pitternet on the line to try and rush it through. And we're going to the arc to try and decide the first score of the game.
Score review. Umpire's call is touched behind. Please check it was over the line.
Review complete. You see the ball was touched before completely crossing the back of the goal line. Decision on the scoreboard.
You heard the words there from the arc. So the first score of the game is a rush behind. It's going Collingwood's way. A long strike from Braden Maynard. There is a late change. O'Brien's come in for Carlton. Sam Walsh missing just his second game in 4 seasons of footy.
Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Straight away, Darcy Cameron. The opening ruck contest of the match has been done with a corky. He's come straight off the ground, straight down to the rooms in considerable pain. So not ideal for the Magpies in the opening ruck contest of the match.
Thanks, Hodgie. McGovern long in for the Blues, but Noble sends Collingwood straight back into attack. Young tries to slap it down to the advantage of McGovern in the back pocket. Under pressure. Marchbank's kick is out on the full. It's coming straight back. Collingwood to take the free kick. And still Sidebottom might end up with it. Only about 35 metres around in the left forward pocket. It's closer than where Jamie Elliott was in this pocket.
I think it was Lewis Young then who kicked the ball out of bounds. Probably should have just taken the ball over.
Shouldn't he? Nearly did, didn't he?
We tried to, but he kicked the ball just inside of play and kicked the ball out of bounds in the full, and still Sidebottom has a shot from the junction at about 35 out.
10 goals for the season for Steele Sidebottom. He steps out, snaps on his right, curling it back. Superb finish. No denying Collingwood this time. The opening goal of the match comes through 3 minutes. They're 1-1-7. The Carlton yet to score.
Well, he's one of the guys. They've got a few of them, though, don't they, the Pies, in terms of their skill and tricks that they've got from the boundary, but still Sidebottom as good as any. But it was Lewis Young who probably...
No, it was Marchbank.
Oh, Marchie, yeah.
So he should have just taken the ball out. He tried to kick the ball over the boundary line and then be called for a throw-in, but managed to get the ball on boot just inside the field of play, and you're right, the one man that you don't want to have a set shot from the boundary there, Steele Sidebottom, and he sprinted straight across and picked it up.
Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Mason Cox is into the ruck, and Darcy Cameron, just as you cross down to me, is just emerged from the rooms, running around the boundary, so he looks like he's going to be okay to come back on. But, boy, he was sore after that opening ruck contest.
Pies with the first goal. Pitternet wins it down. Crisp, first touch for Collingwood. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Gives it to DeGoey, who kicks wide out to Josh Dacos in that southern wing. Pokes the drop punt down to Crisp. Missed him. McGovern onto it for Carlton. Hand pass to Pitternet. He gives it away to O'Brien. The left footer down the southern wing. It beats a few and skids all the way through to the Coleman medalist. Curnow hits up Mackay. and he takes the mark 30 metres out, left half forward for Carlton.
Well, take a bow, Mitch McGovern. They were out then the Pies, but he read the play and saw that Chris was out there by himself and put pressure on the bloke who had the ball and missed his
Dacos.
I think it was Josh Dacos who missed the crisp target, and Mitch McGovern came forward and pressured the ball, and Harry Mackay finds himself at the end of this.
To Mackay on the set shot, tight angle, Collingwood with the first, and Carlton can't respond immediately. Missing to the near side or behind. So rarely see him use the drop punt these days. 4.5 minutes into the opening term. The Collingwood Magpies by a goal. Just repeating that late change. So Sam Walsh out. O'Brien comes in. So for all the talk during the week, the 4 guys under an injury cloud all played, and Walsh misses.
Nick Dacos kicks back in. The first-year Magpie up towards Mason Cox. Can't take the mark. Quick hand pass from Crisp to Sidebottom. Up to the wing. Elliott's outnumbered 2-3 on 1. And in the end, Stock is able to take the mark. Nudging him underneath the footy. Goes backwards to Wiedering, who marks it right half back for the Blues. And goes short to Young. He marks middle of the members' wing. Collingwood 1-1-7 to Carlton 1 behind. Kicks towards Pitnet. Spoiled away by Cox. Front position, Pendlebury's locked up. And the umpire will ball it up. Hawthorn and Western Bulldogs in Tassie. Chris Rowbottom.
13.5 gone, fourth and final term. The Dogs hold a 9-point advantage. 10-12-72, plays 10-3-63. Aaron Norton has 3 goals for the Dogs. Jack Gunston has 4 as they look to go inside 50 here via the boot of Caleb Daniel.
Carlton with it on the wing through Sard. He kicks to half forward, but the 230s at it, Moore and Curnow. And Moore takes the mark and moves it on immediately. Nick Dacos by hand to McCreary. Links up with Pendlebury. Hand pass to Howe. Feeds it forward to Noble. And he'll continue to shift across the ground out to the southern wing for Josh Dacos. Collects on the hop. Looks inside 50 and Myercheck takes the chest mark. 49 metres out, right half forward for the Magpies.
That was the area of the game that we were discussing prior to the game, was numbers. Collingwood's half-back line, their run and dash off winning the intercept ball. It was Moore who took the intercept possession, but then straight off that, couple of handballs and just opened up the Carlton defence straight away, and Myercheck finds himself having a set shot from 50 out.
He's one of 7 in Collingwood's 23 today that hasn't played in a final series as yet. In game number 99, Brodie Myercheck, his drop punt misses. Out to the right and behind. Collingwood 1-2, Carlton 1 behind. Blues home game, so they're all in navy blue with the white monogram, and Collingwood predominantly in white with the black stripes. Using the yellow Sharon, Collingwood by 7.
Oh, Mitch McGovern went for the kick in, looking for Crisp. He's turned it over. He's turned it over. Noble to Nick Dacos on the run. He misses to the left-hand side. So a couple of opportunities for Collingwood. They haven't been able to capitalise on the Pies by 8 points. 7 minutes gone opening term.
Carlton already having a few issues with their kick-ins, aren't they? They're just not able to...
They can't get it past enough back.
No. Collingwood reading the play really well and intercepting.
Adam Saab with the footy in hand. Stand by for the Ange Christou Valparovic throwback. There it is, the woof as his left-footed drop punt goes all the way down the southern wing. Marchbank in the box seat, no mark. Kepper comes tackler on to Gully, who's caught on the bottom of the pack, and the ump says, I'll have it. Ball up on that southern wing. Chris Rowbottom in Launceston. Chris.
Yeah, 15.5 gone, fourth and final term. Bulldogs now hold a 15-point advantage. 11-12-78 the Dogs. Hawthorn 10-3-63, just 3 goals so far this quarter.
Thanks, Chris. Cox one down the tap to DeGoey. He's locked up, nowhere to go. Setterfield seems to have that job. Pitnet one down the tap to Pendlebury. A whistle. Not officiating, the umpire saying a hold, and it's going to be a Carlton free kick.
Looks like Will Setterfield might have the job on DeGoey when he's playing up around the ball.
Setterfield has the free at left half back. Collingwood by 8 points. He looks around the southern wing. Long kick towards Charlie Curnow and Pitnet. It pinballs off a couple, almost hit Mason Cox in the head. Durden, quick hand pass. The kick inside 50. It's a bouncing ball for Silvani and Maynard. Maynard will get there first. Knocks it through the legs of Mackay. Motlop dragged down. Did he have the footy? No whistle. Howe gathers for Collingwood. To Moore. Run down by Silvani. Great tackle. No, tripped. Just the tackle might have lingered and dropped down at the last moment. And Darcy Moore wasted no time, went short to Lipinski, 30 metres out from his defensive goal.
Geez, that's stiff. Great chase from Silvani, not to be for Carlton. Lipinski long to a contest on the southern wing. Spills down to Nick Dacos, sweeping hand pass to Pendlebury. Collingwood on the counter-attack, gives it to DeGoey. Inside the Myercheck. He marks in front of Wiedering at centre half forward. And Myercheck will have his second look in a matter of minutes. Just inside 50, true centre half forward.
It was almost carbon copy, Murph, wasn't it? We've spoken about it, and we probably will for the rest of the game. The ability of Collingwood just to play with such dare, don't they? I love the way they just love to link up and they run in waves.
Well, they're proactive, their wingers and their half-forward line just go, well, I can't win the ball here, I'll get in a dangerous position, and they do so on D50 exits.
Missed his first set shot. Brodie Myercheck has a second look. His drop punt is again right. So Collingwood with 3 consecutive behinds. They move to 1-4. Carlton 1 behind. It's the Pies by 9 points after 10 minutes in the opening term.
Well, Will Setterfield had the job on Clayton Oliver last week and did a really good job, so he's got the job today on Jordan De Goey, so a huge match-up there for Carlton.
Zach Williams back in the lineup, first game since round 9. He kicks towards half-back. Darcy Moore timed his leap superbly. He takes the mark against Paddy Cripps. He plays on. Veers out to the right. Long inside 50. Myercheck and Johnson in the back. No mark claim. Marchbank to Chera. Retreats back by Handy Young. He chips it to Sard. Just got it in the left back pocket as Jamie Elliott loomed late. Sard looking for options out of defence, dodging and weaving as he played on against Elliott. Spots out Chera, who takes the mark at left half back. Collingwood by 9.
Chera gives it back to Sard, and Sard short kick across the ground finds Williams. So Williams, Chera, Ginnivan, De Goey all playing despite being under injury clouds during the week. There's no Walsh though, as the short kick finds McGovern. He just pokes a dangerous ball into the centre corridor. Marchbank grabs it. He's locked up straight away and a ball up on the outer edge of the centre square. 11 minutes into the opening term, Collingwood by 9. Sam Walsh missing just his second game since his AFL career started 4 years ago. Comes down to Chera. Long kick forward. Curnow one-on-one with Murphy. Curnow hacks a volley goalward that misses. Gee, got it out the back. Just threw the boot at it. Had more time than he thought, and from 15 out, his half volley sprays across the open goal face and a behind. Carlton have 2 of them. Collingwood 1-4. Magpies by 8 after 11 minutes.
8 inside 50s to 4. Collingwood's way. Howe with a long kick in, looking for Ginnivan. Cottrell's able to get there to get a fist onto it and spoil it out of play.
Just had more time, didn't he, Charlie? He did all the hard work and worked his opponent underneath the ball, and then the ball just was about to sit up, and rather than just collect it and
big
run it in.
Big crowd will do that, Murph, I reckon.
I'll be right for the experience.
Murphy and Brett Delidio with you. Thrown back in. Cox in front of Pitnet, knocked it down. Chera for the Blues. Setterfield's kick was smothered. It spins out. Gathered by Sard to Doherty. Hand pass to a voice that missed Pitnet. He's slow. Side bottom slides in. He taps it boundary side and goes out for a boundary throw in front of the Collingwood bench. Hawthorn and the Bulldogs. Chris Rowbottom.
Yeah, 20 minutes gone, 4th and final term here. Dogs holding on, still 15 points the margin. Hawthorn pressing, though. They have it inside 50. Gunston around the corner, no mark taken. So 15 points to the good, the Dogs, deep into the 4th and final term.
Collingwood by 8 here from the boundary throw in. Lipinski, hand pass to Ginnivan. Bouncing a kick down to half forward. Setterfield first back for the Blues. James taken high, just handed it to Williams. Oh, there's a free kick going Collingwood's way. So the high tackle was against Setterfield, as you said, leads for a high fend-off. Lipinski's going to get it 60 metres out for Collingwood. He kicks a high ball into the forward pocket. Getting back is Marchbank and takes the intercept mark. Back pocket for Carlton.
They've missed him, haven't they? His ability to do that, jump across, take the intercept mark. Such a good player.
Playing just his 52nd game. He's had such a challenge with his body. Kicks towards Charlie Curnow in the pack. Can't take the mark with Silvani front and centre. Spills to Nick Dacos. Little kick inboard. McRae works it back to Dacos. Nick kicks inside 50 on the head of Elliott. It's spoiled down by Young and it spills out of play. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Darcy Cameron back on the ground for the Magpies. You see he's struggling to get to this boundary throw in. Just one for Lids and Murph. Like, how hard is that when you're dealing? You could see him. He was standing up and down on the bench just to try and get that leg working to cop a corky so early in a match.
He wins a hit out here. I'll get to the boys in just a moment on that as it comes down to Williams. Hand pass away to Setterfield. Gives it to Silvani. Back to Setterfield. Kicks down the wing. Quaynor drops a mark. He should have taken. Handball to side bottom. He's happy to see it out of play. And a throw in between wing and half forward for the Pies.
Well, the key is to stay moving, I think, Murph, isn't it?
It is, but the one spot you probably don't want to get corkies in that calf, isn't it? Because as more as the game wears on, it's going to keep on causing an issue for him.
Collingwood by 8 points, 1-4-10 to the Blues, 2 behind, thrown back in. Cameron knocks it down for Collingwood, but Chera's there for the Blues. Kicks around the boundary member's side, and Martin takes the mark in front of Quaynor. Has it between wing and half forward. He's got Mackay deep, Kerno as well. He looks to work around, Quaynor on the mark. Kicks inside the 50. Kerno could have been held in the pack. Mackay flew. Can't take the mark. More tackle. Drop the footy. Spills to Fisher. He's locked up. Ball comes clear. And the tackle's going to be rewarded for Collingwood. And Jeremy Howe is going to get it for his tackle on Zach Fisher.
Side bottom kicked the game's only goal in the 3rd minute. We've had 5 behind since. 2 to Collingwood. 3 to Collingwood, 2 to Carlton. The quarter's now 15 minutes old. It's the Pies who lead it by 8. As the short kick finds Darcy Moore, he goes back to Noble in the defensive 50. Pokes a pass out to the southern wing again to Josh Dacos, who is all alone. Long kick down to Johnson. Marchbank getting across to cover. Knocks it towards the boundary line. It stayed in. Marchbank grabs it and Johnson pushes him out of play. The boundary throw in 70 metres out from the Collingwood goal. 1-4 to 2 behinds. 15 minutes into the opening term. It's Collingwood by 8.
Corbin, Middlemass, Matt Clinch, Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy and Tim Hodges with you for Sunday afternoon footy. Collingwood by 8 points. Toss back into play. Silvani doing the ruck against Cameron. Got a fist onto it. Josh Dacos lays the tackle and there's nowhere for O'Brien to go. The ball up at right half forward for the Pies. Inside 50s, 10 to 5. Collingwood to 8. Umpire throws it up in the air. Cameron and Silvani in a tangle. Neither get a decisive tap. Umpire blows his whistle. Free kick Cameron's way for a hold. Not a lot in it in the ruck battle. Cameron looks at options out wide. Sends it towards Josh Dacos. He marks on his chest at right half forward. Still 2 good kicks out from goal. Elliott leads up at him. Puts it out in front of him. He takes the mark in front of Chera. 55 metres out from goal. Heading to the punt road end in this opening term, the Pies. Elliott just sends it long towards the goal mouth. Cameron's there. Johnson's there. Myercheck as well. It clears the pack. Durden gets back there. Little fumble but gathers in the defensive goal square. Short to Doherty. Not 15. Called to play on. Kicks long to the southern side. Martin used his body well. Got rid of Nick Dacos. How past to Fisher. They're away on the southern wing. Not a lot of options, so goes back to Chera, who retreats back to Martin at left half back.
All in the back half for Carlton, so Martin trying to bide some time. He chips short to O'Brien. He marks on the southern wing. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Just looking at Brodie Myercheck, he copped one right in the back of the head, similar to Jake Stringer last night, and he's got the jelly legs going, guys. So I think the doc is saying, get off now. So he was trying to say he's okay to stay on, but he is coming off. He copped a nasty one to the back of the head, so this will be a real watch to see if they do the concussion test.
Thanks, Hodgie. The O'Brien kick ends up in a stoppage for Carlton. The ball up 60 metres out, close to the boundary line, left half forward. Silvani around his bootlaces, hand pass out to Setterfield, bounces a kick inside 50. Unkind bounce for Nick Dacos. Curnow up to meet it. Dacos got there first. Hand pass to Murphy. Surge kick out of defence, but straight to Setterfield. And Setterfield marks 45 metres out, left half forward for Carlton.
It's a bit of pressure there by the Carlton forwards, causing that hack ball. Sort of an area of the game so far where Collingwood have been pretty reassured in terms of moving the ball out of that D50, but not on that occasion.
Well, that's what Motlop's in the team for, isn't it? His ability to put pressure on and even perceive pressure. Just rushed Murphy's kick, didn't get enough purchase on it. Setterfield, right place, right time.
Myercheck injury, a big one, so down into the rooms for Collingwood. At the other end of the ground, Setterfield kicking from right on 50. He misses. Out to the left, to behind. Carlton have 3 behinds. Collingwood 1-4-10. Collingwood by 7 points, 18 minutes into the opening term.
Nick Dacos looks to bring Collingwood back into play. Plays onto the right back pocket. Kick looking for Darcy Moore, almost intercepted by Motlop. Moore gathers. Hand pass to Josh Dacos at right half back. Looks long around the southern wing towards Hoskin Elliott. In from the side, Young got a fist to it. And will spoil it out of play for a boundary throw in. Under the Shane Warne stand. Collingwood 1-4-10 to Carlton 3 behinds.
Well, I know they look similar, Lewis Young and Caleb Marchbank, but they're saving Carlton at the moment. They've been really good with their intercept spoils and their one-on-one contests so far.
Yep, absolutely.
Toss back into play. Darcy Cameron with a arm around the shoulder of Jack Silvani, and this time he gets the free kick in the ruck battle. So 1 apiece, 1 back for Jack in the undersized ruckman column as he looks to kick it boundary side, and the mark is taken by Sam Doherty. Can return it to Sard. At left half-back, he takes the mark.
Short kick to Young. Played finals last year with the Bulldogs, his first year at Princes Park. He gives it back to Sard. His kick's got too much on it. Hits side bottom to the Pies, who marks alongside the centre circles. They all rush forward. Side bottom just says pump the brakes. Goes across the ground to Noble. Collingwood by 7 points. The last 6 scores in the game, all behinds, 3 for each team. It's Noble very short to Pendlebury. There's one less big up front with Myercheck going through the concussion test. Side bottom gives it back to Noble. He drives it deep to the top of the goal square, and getting back and marking is Young. Top of the defensive goal square for Carlton. Hand pass away to Doherty, and the savvy vet can come out of the defensive arc.
Charlie Kerno in a 2-on-1. Maynard sport it down, and then a big tackle on Owies. It spills out to Johnson. He's brought down by Martin. Great tackling intent from Jack Martin, and the umpire will throw it up. Stocker in the hands of trainers behind the play. Seems to be okay.
He ran into Ash Johnson just off the ball.
Thrown up. Cameron and Silvani. Comes down to Chera for the Blues. Hand pass to Fisher at half-back. Through traffic, O'Brien. Nowhere to go. Had to release the hand pass. Ginnivan taken high. And he gets the whistle this time.
Listen to the crowd. They love it.
Jack Ginnivan in the long sleeves. The peroxided hair. Goes for the goal. He takes the mark. Over the top of Sard. Beautiful placement. Asking Gagoe to rise, and he comes down with a contested mark.
A terrific kick there by Ginnivan, but just the over handball again from the contest from Carlton. We spoke about it prior to the game, but with 3 or 4 handballs, rather than just getting 1, 2 and then shoulders out, using the ball by foot, continue to look for the handball, and Collingwood's pressure is just too good. They just can't keep doing that.
Having missed last week against the Swans, Jordan Gagoe pretty much directly in front, just inside 50. He hangs it out to the right. And neither side can take their opportunity. Collingwood won 5-11 to the Blues, 3 behinds, 21 minutes gone, opening turn.
In case you've just picked up following AFL today, Carlton need a win to make September, and Collingwood need a win for the double chance and finish in the top 4 as Williams from the kick out goes short to Doherty. An 8-point lead for Collingwood. The last 7 scores in the game now, all behinds. As Doherty comes out wide to O'Brien, the late in for Walsh, who misses with back soreness. Finds Chera, short kick across the ground to Doherty, hand pass to Sard. He fumbles, then he tackles Elliott without the footy. And Jamie Elliott will get the free in the middle of the G.
No, well, the handball was there. It was just a fumble by Sard. Had a few little skill errors through the middle of the ground. Carlton so far.
Carlton 300 game of Mark Murphy on Grandstand AFL as Elliott puts it inside 50. Williams underneath it. Hoskin Elliott spoils from the back and then follows up. Hand pass to Crisp on the run. Crisp hits for Collingwood. After a sequence of misses, at last a goal. And Crisp gives those in black and white something to cheer about. Time on in the opening term. Collingwood 2-5-17. Carlton 3 behinds. The Magpies by 14 points. Full time in Launceston. Chris Rowbottom.
The Western Bulldogs win by 23, 12-5-87. The Dogs. Hawthorn 10-4-64. Rourke Smith was the difference, 3 goals. Will it be enough? That is the question. All eyes now turn to the MCG for the Western Bulldogs. They take care of business in Launceston.
Well, I spoke about it earlier. The ability to settle yourselves. And unfortunately, Carlton just haven't been able to get themselves composed enough, hit their targets by hand or by foot. They're overdoing it a little bit at the moment, whereas Collingwood just seem to be calm. They're taking the game on and playing like they have done for the whole year.
So the Dogs into the 8 for now. The Blues need to win to try and change that. Back in the middle of the ground. Crisp trying to get the clearance. Dragged down. Pitnet can't break away. Paddy Cripps is dragged down. Tries to knock it back to Pitnet. He can't get a disposal away. Cripps has another go for Carlton. Works it back to Stocker. Back edge of the centre square. Kicks out to the members' wing. Lockie O'Brien at full pelt. Takes the mark. Looks up. Mackay on a long lead. He marks in front of Darcy Moore. Between wing and half forward for the Blues. Veers out to the left. Sends it long towards Silvani. Maynard in from the side. It gets to the back. Murphy runs onto it for Collingwood. Kicks out to the right back pocket. Lipinski gathers. McGovern gathers him. Footy stuck underneath as McGovern tries to rip it clear. And the umpire will ball it up in the left forward pocket for the Blues. Collingwood by 14.
Just looked a bit nervous, haven't they, Carlton? Cripper, unfortunately, a few little fumbles around the centre of the ground.
Up it goes. Mackay got rid of Cox, grabs it out of the right, hand pass to Chera, tackled heavily, ball spits out. Mackay tackled by Quaynor, somehow got a loose hand pass away and the ball spills out of play. A throw in forward pocket for Carlton. The Pies fans at the City end looking for a throw, wasn't forthcoming. Collingwood by 14 points. They've kicked the only 2 goals in the game so far. Time on in the opening term, 90,000 plus in at the G from the boundary throw-in. Mackay wins the tap. Pack forms beneath the ruckman and the umpire says, I'll have it. And now we've got a ball up 30 metres out from the Carlton goal at left half forward.
Well, 2 things settle you. It's this, repeat stoppages, but get a goal on the board. That'll get the boys nice and settled. So, right, we're still in this game.
Thrown up, Cox and Cripps for the Blues. It comes down the way of Hoskin Elliott. Can't get a disposal away as he and Cottrell battle for it and rolls out of play. That is the area, though, Lids, that the Blues would like. Clearance, contested footy.
Yep.
Try and get enough of that.
Yeah, they want a stoppage game, Carlton, and at the moment it's just been too free-flowing for their likes, so they need to get the ball in around the contest.
Thrown back in, Pitnet and Cox. Pitnet takes it out of the ruck, hand pass to Setterfield, off balance, high ball to half forward. Maynard underneath takes the mark against Owies, who couldn't really compete in the air.
Walsh laid out with back soreness. O'Brien takes his place, but the other 4 with injury clouds all playing as Maynard goes long into the middle of the ground. Wrestling forward is Young. He wants to claim the mark and he will be paid.
Well done. Lewis Young came off Pat Lipinski, who was drifting forward, but Lewis Young read the ball and intercepted the ball terrifically.
Juggled it 3 times. He got it eventually, just backward of halfway. Kicks inside the attacking half. There's Maynard again. Pack mark for Collingwood at centre half back. Sweeping hand pass to Pendlebury. Members wing. Kicks out wide for Lipinski, who marks in front of the interchange. 26 gone opening term. Collingwood by 14. Lipinski down to half forward. McCreary got it. 55 from home. He's just going to kick to the top of the goal square. Ginnivan's out the back. He collects. He snaps. He's got it. That's his thing, Jack Ginnivan. Bread and butter front and centre. And Ginnivan makes the Collingwood fans erupt again. It's a 20-point lead for the Pies as we close in on quarter time. Collingwood 3-5, Carlton 3 behinds. The Blues needing to win to make September.
Well, one thing you can't deny is this kid's footy smart. He's always in the right spot at the right time. And that's one thing you can't practice as a guy coming back from an injury, long-term injury, Zachy Williams, that one-on-one high ball coming in was a beautiful kick from McCreary. He got there quick. Didn't allow a third tall to come over the top, but just lost his footing at the wrong time there, Zachy Williams, which left Ginnivan one out by himself.
He just didn't read it well, did he? And Ginnivan just realised the ball was going to carry Zachy Williams, and that's what missing a lot of football does to you. So
takes a while to get that back.
It does.
34 goals of the season for the second-year Pie.
Pretty good return, isn't it, Clinchy?
He's been in the spotlight for a lot of different reasons, but his goal kicking probably hasn't had the attention it deserved. Now, Cox had to awkwardly throw a leg at Pitnet, trying to block his run. A free kick going the way of the Blues ruckman. He'll take it in the middle of the MCG. Can Carlton get something late? No one on the mark, so hand passes at Doherty. He kicks to Chera, right on 50. He goes short through the hands of Fisher. Mackay tries to work it back to Chera. It's intercepted by Crisp of Collingwood. To Pendlebury's tackle, back to Moore, to Quaynor, to Cox, the biggest guy on the ground. He hacks it through the middle of the MCG. Awkward bouncing ball for McGovern and Wiedering. They work together well, and the Blues gather. McGovern kicks it out, and the mark is taken by Cottrell on the southern wing.
Cottrell is just going to go long with the contest, kick down to half forward. Curnow in the pack. Cox getting back for Collingwood, puts his fist through it. Nick Dacos grabs the footy. He's game tackled. The ball up 60 out from the Carlton goal. Blues have had 2 goalless quarters so far this year. Once against Richmond, one against Brisbane. Just a fortnight ago, they lost both those games. 28 gone in the opening term here. Collingwood with the only 3 in the match. Comes down to Durden. Hand pass away to Cripps. Took on the tackler. Got it inside 50. It's out wide. Hoskin Elliott keeps it alive. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Gives it to McRae. Looking for a high tackle. Won't get it. And the ball up here. Just a metre in from the boundary line out on that southern side. 40 metres out from the Carlton goal at the City end. In the waning moments of this opening term, Collingwood 3-5. Carlton 3 behinds.
The Dogs are in the 8, winning by 23 points against the Hawks. Chris Robon will bring you a full wrap at quarter time. Quaynor tried to emerge from it, run down at halfback. Sam Doherty got him. The ball was socketed away. It won't be a 50-metre penalty. And Sam Doherty will get the free kick at left half forward. 29 minutes gone in the opening term.
Well, hopefully that can lift them. Really good effort there, Sam Doherty. Great run-down tackle. Quainlaw's no slow human, is he? He can move.
Exactly.
Doherty puts it into the pocket looking for Charlie Curnow. He's outmanoeuvred by Howe. Shorter in size and in height, but was able to work his key forward underneath the footy. And Jeremy Howe marks on the last line in the right back pocket for Collingwood. Kicks up towards half back. Cameron spoils it down for Collingwood. Cripps runs onto it for Carlton. Hand pass to Durden. His kick is smothered by McCreary for Collingwood to Cripps. Run down. Chris couldn't get a hand pass away. McGovern got him into the middle of the ground. Collingwood through to Goey. He's locked up by Chera. As the siren sounds for quarter time. Plenty of encouragement from the Blues players around the footy. And eventually the Magpies separate to head their different directions. So no one taking a backward step as you'd expect with so much on the line in this final game of the home and away season for Collingwood and Carlton. But it's the Magpies who have the damage on the scoreboard, leading by 20 points at quarter time. 3-5-23 to the Blues, 3 behind. For Collingwood, the goals coming through Ginnivan, Crisp and Sidebottom. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Well, the real watch right now is Brody Myercheck, so it's now been 12 minutes he's been down in the Magpie rooms. It was a knock on the back of the head, so there's talk of a sore neck, but also potentially a concussion. You saw yourselves, guys, when he came off the ground, it did look like he had jelly legs. So the watch right now is on Ollie Henry, the medical sub, so he would be a perfect like-for-like replacement, I guess, if Myercheck is out of this game. But we'll keep you posted. At the moment, he remains down in the rooms, and the Pies have been operating with one man less on the bench.
Thank you very much, Hodgie. Great to have Tim Hodges on the boundary, and of course we'll weave through some of your correspondence on the SMS 0437 774 774 in just a moment. But this is Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
The first experiment has all grown up.
Should we call them old people?
Can our teenagers and older folk find common ground?
I'm very lonely.
I don't see anybody anymore.
And help change each other's lives?
You should learn a TikTok.
A TikTok.
Jim taught me that you should do the most you can in the little time that you have.
Mind the generation gap.
TikTok.
Old People's Home for Teenagers.
You're amazing.
Starts Tuesday, August 30 on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Young tries to slap it down to the advantage of McGovern in the back pocket. Under pressure. Marchbank's kick is out on the full. It's coming straight back. Collingwood to take the free kick. And Steele Sidebottom might end up with it. 10 goals for the season for Steele Sidebottom. He steps out, snaps on his right, curling it back. Superb finish.
Elliott puts it inside 50. Williams underneath it. Hoskin Elliott spoils from the back and then follows up. Hand pass to Crisp on the run. Crisp hits for Collingwood. Lipinski down to half forward. McCreary got it. 55 from home. He's just going to kick to the top of the goal square. Ginnivan's out the back. He collects. He snaps. He's got it. That's his king, Jack Ginnivan.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Quarter time at the MCG Sunday afternoon footy. Great to have your company on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital. The Pies leading by 20 points, 3-5-23 to the Blues, 3 behinds. Matt Klitsch and Corbin Middlemass calling all the action. Tim Hodges down on the boundary. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio are your experts. The Bulldogs are inside the top 8 for now, defeating the Hawks. To take us through all the action there, Chris Rowbottom from Tassie.
Yes, we know the Bulldogs needed to take care of business in Launceston against a team that wasn't going to be finals bound in 2022. They've done just that, recording a 23-point win over Hawthorn at York Park. Now, as it stands right now, the Western Bulldogs are in the 8 on 48 points with a percentage of 108.9. Carlton, 48 points, a percentage of 108.8. 8. So they needed to win by somewhere between 3 and 4 goals to get the percentage required to climb into the 8 on the live ladder, and they won by 23 points. You wouldn't read about it. It was an interesting, intriguing and fairly entertaining affair. Hawthorn actually led at the first change by 12 points. They led by as many as 18 when Dylan Moore kicked a goal at the 2.5-minute mark of the second term. But from there, the Bulldogs just out-muscled Hawthorn and managed to get it done. They took a 3-point lead into half-time, a 10-point lead into the last change, and ended up running out winners by 23 points. Rourke Smith was the difference. He kicked 3 goals as the deadly small forward on the ground. Aaron Norton chipped in with 3. Sam Darcy kicked 2. He was impressive. Waitman, Bontempelli and Treloar won each for the Hawks. Jack Gunston kicked 4, and of course Ben McAvoy in his farewell game kicked 2, and we saw him chaired off the field a short time ago. Morrison, Moore and Saunders, the other goal kickers for the Hawks. So the Western Bulldogs, they uphold their end of the bargain. They run out 23-point winners here in Launceston. They're in the 8 for now.
Thanks, Chris. Chris Rodbottom with all the details from Tassie. So as it stands at the moment, if the game was to end now, the Bulldogs 108.9 would be in 8th position, and the Blues trailing by 20 points would be in 9th position, 107.5.
Some nervy blokes in this box, I'll give you that tip. But yeah, there's some work to be done. But what encouraged me there, Murph, was those last couple of moments for the Blues, their ability to lock it in their front half, get repeat stoppages. You know, they've got to be. They didn't get the goal, but they've got to be comfortable knowing that, yep, we're good enough to fight it out here and not allow Collingwood just to go end to end and score really freely on us.
Yeah, they just started to look like they'd matched that pressure around the contest and on turnover. We saw too many times in the first probably 15-20 minutes where Collingwood would win the ball at a half-back flank by an intercept ball or otherwise, and just be able to use the ball too freely. So the Carlton forwards really need to pick up their game in terms of that tackling and pressure and harassment, because if they're allowed to do that, Collingwood all day, they'll run away with this win.
Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Good news here for the Magpies. Brody Mychek is back from the rooms. He looks to have passed his concussion test and is okay to get back on the ground. Darcy Cameron has also had a lot of work during the quarter-time break on that corky.
Thanks, Hodgie. Collingwood by 20 points as we start the second quarter. Pitnet wins down the tap. Cripps was charging through. He was pushed in the back, and he'll get the free kick. And the first chance to go forward, he thought Maynard might have moved on the mark. The umpire didn't pay the 50, so he sends a long kick inside 50. Silvani and Pitnet's there, but in front position, Darcy Cameron takes the mark for Collingwood, 30 metres out from his defensive goal. Around the back to Nick Dacos. He looks for options. Crisp takes the mark, hand pass to Josh Dacos, skirting across half-back, into the middle of the ground for DeGoey. McGovern in from the side. Did enough to claim the mark. An intercept mark for Mitch McGovern in the middle of the MCG.
Started well, Mitch McGovern, hasn't he? Had some great intercept possessions so far.
Brackets. Goes out wide to Wiedering, who takes the mark on the wing, down to half forward for Jack Martin, takes a juggled mark. Kicked a couple in the last quarter against Melbourne last Saturday night to the punt road end where the Blues are attacking.
Kick.
Perfect placement. Inside 50 to Owies, who hugs it to his chest. And he'll shoot from about 40 out, just right of centre.
Terrific kick, wasn't it? That's why I call him the little cherry on top player, Jack Martin, because his ball use is just so important going inside 50.
Didn't panic.
And unlike previous kicks where they've just banged it in long and just put it on top of blokes' heads, that's just smart. Put it into space, let your little forwards work onto it.
It is a Carlton home game. There's plenty here in navy blue. They've been waiting for a reason to roar. So far, as always, goes back and puts the Baggers in business. And immediately Owies is into the biff, as well as just about every player on the ground comes to get involved in a melee. Carlton have their first. They've had to wait 2 minutes into the second term. Carlton 1-3-9, Collingwood 3-5-23. Magpies lead cut to 14. Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio, Grandstand AFL.
He loves a little celebration, Matty Owies, and kicked that goal. Usually over the last couple of years when he's kicked goals, he's given a bit to the crowd. On that occasion, Scotty Pendlebury standing on the mark, and to go run into a 350-game champion and let him know all about it.
What's Pendlebury saying? We'll say, well, wait, what's your name? Sorry, I don't even know, you angry little ant. So
get the trainer to bring out the record and tell him who it is.
Get on with the game, pal. You kicked the goal, well done. But Jack Martin's the one who set that up with his ball use inside forward 50, and they needed that one. That'll calm them right down. Hopefully they can get on playing good footy.
Two former basketballers.
Matt Owies in his third season and Scott Pendlebury playing in his 17th season for the Magpies. in the middle of the ground. There's no clearance as Josh Dacos lays the tackle on Adam Chero, trying to break through. Thrown up, Cameron and Pitnet. Comes down to Cripps. He kicks towards half forward. Maynard takes the mark, working in front of Jack Silvani. He marks right on the paint of the defensive 50 for Collingwood. Pies by 14 points. Looks out to the members' side. His kick finds Quaynor at right half back. Around the members' wing to Steele Sidebottom. He takes the mark on his chest. Kicked the opening goal of the match this afternoon. He gestures for Elliott to lead towards him, runs around the boundary line and hand passes to Howe in the end. Kicks around his body and Elliott does mark on his chest, leading up to the footy. He's 60 metres out from home though. At the city end, he puts his hand up just to pause for a moment. Mason Cox is the deepest target, puts it into that direction, or Cameron is in front, can't take the mark. McRae front and centre, jams it on the boot, it's out to the right. And out of bounds on the full, fails to score. Collingwood by 14 points. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Confirmation from the Magpies, Clinchy, that Brodie Myercheck went down to the rooms. He had the concussion test. He did pass it. He is okay to return to the field. Currently sitting beside me on the bench.
Thanks, Hodgie. Pies by 14. Doherty long to a contest on the wing. Cameron tackled, dispossessed. Ball spills to Martin. Hand pass to Owies of the Blues. Kicks down the wing. There's Pendlebury. Hand pass back to Owies. Has another go at it. Off the left boot. Kicks down the boundary line. But Maynard, running back with the flight, takes the intercept mark. Kicks across the ground to Crisp. And they continue to shift out to the southern side. Finds Moore. Back edge of the centre square. Hand pass to DeGoey. Transition well and truly on. Looks for Elliott. Trying to reel it in. Mark not paid. He's under the pump now, Elliott. Tackled. And the ump says he had his arms chopped. I think he's getting a free, Jamie Elliott. And Elliott's going to get it left half forward for the Pies.
He's good from here. We've seen that, but at the other end, yeah, he did. He just blatantly punched him in the arms. I suppose that was what you were taught as a kid. If you couldn't take the footy, you come through and try and body spoil. It was a good attempt by a Stocker, but can't do it in today's game.
That's the ball movement which is going to trouble Carlton, isn't it? The intercept mark from Maynard, then straight at the other side.
Trying to kick the first of the day to the city end, Jamie Elliott. He's wide out at left half forward. His set shot sails goalward. It's out to the left and stays there. Behind, they've left a few behind Collingwood, 3-6 to 1-3. Pies by 15 points, 5 minutes into the second term. And the Western Bulldogs winners at York Park in Launceston. They came from 18 down to beat Hawthorn by 23. They're in the 8 at present.
McGovern with the kick-in duties for the Blues. Up towards Mackay, it clears him and rolls out in front of Darcy Cameron. Greg from Albany on the SMS. Hi guys, hypothetically Carlton and the Bulldogs could be locked on percentage. What happens then?
Corbs.
We're all looking to the same man. You're our numbers man, Corby.
I think it's 0.4 is the first differential. But we worry about that when we get there.
Yeah, let's hope we don't get to that, Greg. Although it would be kind of thrilling. Cameron tries to take it off the throw-in with the ball at ground level. Hand pass to Pendlebury to McRae over the top to Ginnivan. Has to find a way around Young. He can't do so. And Lewis Young sees him over the boundary line. Does Mason Cox get reported for kicking Pitnet in the centre bounce? I don't think so. The impact probably wasn't enough.
No, it wasn't so much a kick, more of just trying to use the knee to get up, but could be a little bit more subtle with it next time, Mason.
Baggers are rubbish without Sam Walsh. And Kevin, good luck for a great call and commentary, boys, for a beautiful day here from Myrtleford. Thanks for your correspondence. 0437 774 774. Chera from the clearance. Hand pass to Doherty at left half back for the Blues. Long down the members' wing. In from the side. Howe got a fist onto it. Spoils it away from Mackay and Kerno. And it rolls out in front of the two benches. Collingwood by 15 points. Carlton with the only goal so far of this second quarter through 6 minutes.
Sam Walsh isn't playing out with back soreness, but Chera, Williams, Ginnivan, DeGoey all out there despite injury concerns during the week. Pies by 15 early in the second. Cameron wins it down to Pendlebury, the Magpies. Hand pass to DeGoey. Look away, handball to Crisp. Through the middle of the G, kicks inside 50, up tall Marchbank. Takes the intercept mark at centre half back for Carlton. He goes out wide to Lockie O'Brien. His grandfather, Dennis, actually played for Collingwood way back in 1971. Dennis's grandson, Lockie, and the number 4 for Carlton here. He kicks it down the wing. Silvani there. Can't take the mark. Now fights on for it at ground level with Josh Dacos. Two famous names in the history of these two clubs. Umpire says holding the ball. He said Silvani jumped on top of it. And it's going to be a free kick to Josh Dacos, defensive side of the southern wing for Collingwood.
Inboard he comes to Darcy Moore, who wants to kick laterally across the middle of the MCG. Out in front of Maynard, slapped it away from Cottrell. Got it to Sidebottom, through traffic, kept his composure. Hand pass forward looking for Lipinski. Didn't use his body well, but Collingwood have the numbers. Maynard gathers, sidesteps Pitnet, kicks inside 50. Mason Cox against 2, and Wiedering takes the mark at the very back. 15 metres out from his defensive goal. When the Blues were flying, Jacob Wiedering was playing a key part. Kicks up towards Pitnet. Cameron flew from the back. Brought it down for Collingwood. Maynard's hand pass forward. Free kick for a hold going Collingwood's way. And Pat Lipinski will take it. Right half forward for the Magpies.
Geez, Braden Maynard's playing a good game today.
Someone in that Carlton forward line there takes some ownership over him.
Lipinski looks inside 50. Cox is there. Hoskin Elliott as well. Cox brings it down, becomes the rover. Hand pass to Chris. Kicks towards the goal mouth. There's a whistle.
Oh, it's 50.
And it's a Carlton free kick. And it should be 50, now that the ball was kicked away.
Hoskin Elliott flying too early. Not a realistic attempt, or it was, because he can take a hang, but didn't get a hand on it, unfortunately.
So Marchbank taken from the last line into the middle of the ground.
So the kick comes inside the forward arc now for the Blue Baggers. Howe missed it on the way through. It beats everyone. Over the boundary line, rolls out a play, forward pocket for Carlton. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
So it's just 28 minutes since Brodie Myercheck came off the ground, went down to the rooms for the concussion test, and he's just replaced Mason Cox. So back in the Magpie forward line.
Boundary throw in deep forward here for Carlton. Pies by 15. Silvani got rid of Cameron, couldn't collect the footy. Now it's Crisp who grabs it, shakes 2 tackles, runs out of defence for the Pies, takes on Pettinet, hand pass to McRae, kicks into an open forward 50, turns it over. And Williams takes the intercept mark, trying to draw a free kick after making contact with Ginnivan. The umpire wasn't buying that. He goes short to Cottrell. And Cottrell finds McGovern on the wing for Carlton.
Looks up towards half forward. Kerno's the target. Long towards him. Cripps in from the side. Can't take the mark. Silvani in the back. Away to Martin on the left. On the bounce. And it bounces through. Darcy Moore wants to know if it kissed the left goalpost on the way through.
Definitely did. Yeah, definitely.
Jack Martin looked at options into the corridor. There weren't any, so he jammed it on the boot. And we're going upstairs.
Score review. Umpire's call is run behind. Can you please check if it hit the post?
So umpire's calls are behind, so we need evidence to show that that's not the case here. And the crowd at the MCG are getting a replay on the big screen.
Shouldn't take this long. We saw it from here, Clinchy. It's not that hard.
Giving the evidence that if you couldn't see with the eye, it was certainly touching the post. Collingwood holding a 14-point advantage once the all-clear is given. 10.5 minutes gone in the second quarter. So the Blues 1-4-10 to Collingwood 3-6-24.
So long kick to centre-half back for Collingwood, and Moore takes the mark from the Nick Dacos kick-out. Swings the kick for Collingwood out wide to Johnson. Over the back, Wiedering punches it close to the boundary line. Cottrell keeps it alive, only momentarily. His teammate McGovern steps out of play with the footy. We'll have a throw-in 60 out from the Collingwood goal.
Such great positive football to watch from Collingwood. Just straight up the guts. Just backing in more 1v1. Wins the 1v1 contested mark. Gets the ball forward. It's great footy.
Pies by 14. 11 played second term from the boundary throw-in. Pitternet wins it down, but side bottom. First touch, hand pass close to the boundary line. Cripps collects. He's bowled over. It's out of play again. You asked the question earlier, Clinchy, about the tiebreaker if they both end up on the same percentage. So the first tiebreaker, if they lob on the exact same percentage, will be head-to-head matchups during the year, whoever won that. The next step is if it's still, say, 1 apiece, they will calculate the percentage of those games, so points for and against in matches against the two teams.
Thrown back in, Pitnet one down the tap. Cripps was taken when not in possession. He'll get the free kick. Simon from Wanturna's been in touch on the SMS with the potential of the Dogs and the Blues finishing on the same percentage. Let them play next week. We've got the bye.
That's a good
There was
idea.
a theory once upon a time that we could do that.
I know the next question will be what happened between the Carlton and the Bulldogs this year. Carlton beat the Dogs back in round 2 by a couple of goals. Their only meeting.
Cripps has the free kick for the Blues at left half back. Kicks towards Silvani and Murphy. 1-on-1. Murphy worked him underneath. Takes the mark, the Collingwood defender at right half back.
They found one of this kid too.
Yeah, he's been really good.
Really liked him down back.
So they're an undersized defence, but they are winning some of these one-on-ones. Murphy up the members' wing. Wiedering spoils it down. Mitch McGovern over the footy. Knocked it into Quaynor. Spills to McCreary. Motlop can't get a disposal away as it's under Jordan DeGoey, Mitch McGovern, Sam Doherty. And there's one other Collingwood player, Bo McCreary, in a pack of 4. And the umpire will ball it up in the middle of the MCG. Collingwood by 14 points.
The Dogs beat the Hawks by 23 in Launceston, so Carlton playing for survival in season 2022. Pies for a top 4 spot from the ball up. Josh Dacos had it, lost it. Then Silvani gave it to Cripps. Kick smothered. Spills Carlton's way. Marchbank hand pass to Doherty. His kick smothered too. Sarge got it. He's tackled and we'll have another ball up.
How good was that from Nick Dacos? Just all their pressure around the ball at the moment, Collingwood. They just can't get a clear ball, Carlton.
Pies by 14. Both rucks miss it. Ball up. Logo members wing. Comes to Pendlebury. Tackled, dispossessed. Spills down Carlton's way. Hand pass from centre field. Got it away to Doherty. It was taken high. Advantage applied. Cottrell forward of the wing. Kicks inside the forward 50. Curnow juggled mark. And the Coleman medalist takes the mark. Left forward pocket for the Blues.
I'm glad they took the advantage there, because otherwise they don't. It probably gets held up, numbers back, and they get more support. But well done, Cottrell. Just saw the couple of 1v1s down there. Get it in, give your big forwards a chance.
Curnow's going to hook it across the body with his right foot. He hasn't got much purchase on that. Kicks it straight to Noble. Marks on the behind line, no score. Collingwood still by 14.
And the Pies have to run it out of defence. Noble works it quickly to Darcy Moore, kicks up to the wing. Myercheck and Lewis Young. Young spoils it out of play. So Brody Myercheck back on the field after Tim Hodges reported he left in the first quarter, had a concussion test, would have sat out for the 20 minutes before being allowed to return to the field. So the marks inside 50 are 3 apiece. It feels like the tall timber of the Blues haven't been able to get on top early. Thrown back in. Mason Cox against Silvani. Wins down the tap. Spills to Owies. He kicks inside 50 for Carlton. Here's Harry Mackay on the lead. He marks in front of Maynard. He'll shoot from right of centre. Kicking from about 45 metres out.
Well, it was a good clearance from Carlton. They didn't mess around with it and try and do too much with the ball. They just got it forward and giving their forwards first opportunity. And when you've got big key targets like Harry Mackay and Charlie Curnow, you just need to give them an opportunity. And if they can get those 1v1s, rather than letting Collingwood intercept the ball, they're going to look very dangerous.
Harry Mackay looking for the key targets to get involved. Out to the right, he goes, the drop punt, and the Blues have their second. They close the gap to 8 points, Collingwood's way. The Magpies 3-6-24 to Carlton 2-4-16. Both the Blues goals have come in this second quarter, which is now 15 minutes old.
Well, I was going to say just before that goal come through that a lot of things pointing to things just not going in the Blue Baggers' way at the moment, Murph. The rush decisions, missing handballs, missing kicks. Charlie Curnow with a goal that you'd say normally that's a lock. You know, even further out you'd say he'd snap that through. But then they just simplify a little bit, you know, win the clearance, get it on the boot, give your big forwards a chance. And once Harry Mackay's in front and gets a chance to sniff, he's so quick off the mark that you can't get around him. So I was actually impressed that he kicked the drop punt there and not around the corner after Charlie's missed before.
Back to 8 points. Carlton with the only 2 goals in the quarter, which is 15 minutes old. As Silvani in the middle wins it down to Cripps, hands it back to Silvani, runs, carries, lost it, comes out to Nick Dacos. Hand pass to Elliott, fends off 2 tacklers but retreating, gives it to Noble, he's crunched by Silvani. Always wins it for Carlton, hand pass to Fisher, hands it to centre field, kicks inside 50. Curnow over the top of the pack, pulls down a spectacular mark.
Wow. That's a mark, isn't it?
It was an interesting decision from Zach Fisher because he could have gone in a little bit earlier, but heard the call from Setterfield behind him, who just a little bit more time, a little bit more pointed kick just to the space where Charlie Curnow wanted it. Once he got that jump at it, just sat on poor old Jack Martin's head, but great mark. Need the finish now.
Left half forward, he skips in, he'll kick from 45 metres out. It's out to the right, it's coming back, not enough. Another behind. Wayward kicking from both teams in the set shots continues. 2-5 to 3-6. It's Collingwood by 7 points. 17 minutes into the second term.
It's gone up a gear, hasn't it, around the contest. The last 3 or 4 minutes, just really piling in numbers, just head on the ball. It's hard to get a possession out there at the moment.
Darcy Moore brings Collingwood back into play towards Mason Cox. He's notched off it by Silvani. It's punched into the middle of the ground. Nick Dacos onto it for Collingwood. Hand pass straight to Centrefield. Jams a high ball inside the 50. Mackay sets himself. Howe spoils it down. Cripps front and centre for Carlton. Hand pass to Setterfield. Straight back in. Flying from behind is Curnow. He brings it down. Lipinski's there for Collingwood. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Cool and composed in a crisis. Hand pass to Sidebottom. He works it out to McCreary, who marks it right half back. The mark's inside 50 all of a sudden, though. 6-3.
Yeah, when the heat's really on, you need your good players to get the ball, because as you see with Pendlebury, just the composure, just to find a target rather than just rushing the ball forward.
Pies by 7. McCreary kicks to a contest on the wing. McGovern whacks it towards the boundary line, and it'll trickle out 60 out from the Collingwood goal at the City end. The set shot kicking, so Collingwood are 1 goal 5, Carlton 2 goals 3. It's been some gettable shots that they've left out there.
Talk about executing the fundamentals at the start. Well, that is one of the fundamentals. Kicking your goals when you get your opportunity.
Collingwood by 7 points. Carlton must win to play finals, despite having spent every single round in the top 8 this year. From the boundary throw-in, Cripps first clean touch. Hand pass to Cottrell. Heads down to half forward. Curnow got himself in front. No mark, but follows up off the deck. 70 from home. Kicks inside 50. Mackay reaching for it. More spoils. Spills to Owies. Chucks it on the boot, but misses everything. Out on the full. Carlton with a bit of momentum here, though. 2-5. Collingwood 3-6 as we approach time on in the second term. Magpies by 7.
Darcy Moore to Josh Dacos in the left back pocket, works it out to Quaynor. He marks inside the defensive 50. Back to Josh Dacos. He runs the boundary line, kicks up to the southern wing. Down low for Myercheck. Can't take the mark. Stocker over the top of him. Zach Williams slides in. Kicks the Blues towards half forward. Bouncing ball for McGovern. He leaves it for Mackay. He gathers against the boundary. Back to McGovern. Tackled by Quaynor and kept in play. The umpire will ball it up. 50 metres out from the Blues goal.
All of a sudden, it's the Blues that are setting up really well and outnumbering in the contest. They're up their ante, that's for sure.
Mason Cox and Mark Pitnet have to rush to make this ruck battle. Cox got rid of Pitnet and then squeezed the kick up the southern wing. Wiedering in front, worked out of it by Myercheck, but he gave away the free kick. Jacob Wiedering to take it under the Shane Warne stand. Collingwood by 7 points.
Yeah, they've looked really organised the last 5 or 6 minutes, haven't they? And they're getting the basics right with ball in hand.
Kicks a helicopter inside 50. Tough one to mark. No one does. Spills to Owies. Hand pass to Cripps as he's tackled. Got it back to Owies. Out of the forward 50 to O'Brien. Now to Chera. Off a single step. Kicks Carlton deep inside 50. Howe can't take the mark. His direct opponent. Curnow's onto it. Fend off. Kick smothered. Spills to Motlop. Ump says, hold on. Free kick for a high tackle, a high fend-off. It's going Quaynor's way. As Motlop to look like scoring there for Carlton.
Right on the chin. Good fend-off. Just high.
For Quaynor and Collingwood. He goes to Josh Dacos. Looks for Hoskin Elliott. Overcooks the kick. Mops it up for the Pies. Tumbles it down the wing. Finds Myercheck. Stands up with the footy. Hands it back to Hoskin Elliott. To Ginnivan. And Jack marks wide out at left half forward for Collingwood. And again, they transition the footy from their back 50 all the way up front with ease.
So just when it looked like that Carlton was starting to get those one-on-ones really well, Myercheck was a really strong ball win on the outer wing and just stood up in the tackle and delivered off to Hoskin Elliott. So it was a real important 1v1 contest won by Collingwood.
He loves the spotlight. Jack Ginnivan. What a year he's had. No second-year Blues, just second-year black and white. Jack Ginnivan with his second of the day. And Collingwood out by 13 points. 4-6 to 2-5. 22 played in the second term.
You can't tell me he hasn't thought about that celebration as he marched over towards the crowd. I love it. He's amping him up, but it was that big win on the wing, as you spoke about, Murph. Myercheck v Williams was in front of Myercheck, but he had to hold up, through the tackle and get it to Hoskin Elliott, who was cruising past. And he noticed that Ginnivan had pointed in front, even though he was running back towards goal, pointed in front, and he just put it in space, allowed him to run into it. When all these guys are missing their set shots, the money man steps up, loves it, knocks it through. and then lets the crowd know about it.
What was the celebration, Lid? Something like, this is my town.
This is where I belong, or something to those.
You got to hand it to him, because on the big stage
he backs it up.
Second goal for Jack Ginnivan, Collingwood's first one since he kicked it in the 26-minute mark of the first term. Cripps in the middle of the ground, breaks the tackle. His kick is smothered by Lipinski, though. A turnover. Collingwood through to Goey. Hand pass to Josh Dacos. Kicks out in front of Lipinski. Sard's trying to hold him up. Edge of the centre square. Kicks inside 50. Ginnivan again. Hoskin Elliott spoiled it. Gone to it. Hand pass to Goey. He kicks across the face of goal, and Johnson almost takes the mark. It's spoiled late. Well done by Stocker in the end. Out to O'Brien. His kick is cut off, and Noble takes the mark for Collingwood.
Good spoil if he didn't give away the free kick, but that's probably questionable.
Wasn't paid.
Noble, very conservative, is going to go long into the forward pocket. Johnson's down there, and Markey in front of Young, got his mitts around it just inside the boundary line, right forward pocket.
That looked like it was going out for all money. Centimetre perfect, to steal a quote, but wouldn't say it's the ideal spot to be kicking it inside 50 to try and kick a goal, but wouldn't put it past him. This kid's kicked some pretty good goals this year.
Looks like he's going with a banana too.
Right in front of the Collingwood race, off a couple of steps, trying to bend it through. That's sensational. What a finish from Johnson. He turns to the Magpie Army and says, "Let me hear you." Collingwood by 19 points. And the young stars stepping up late in the second. 5-6 to 2-5. Magpies by 19.
Well, it's a really important period here for the Carlton leaders, just to go, righto, we've been on top here the last 10 minutes. They've kicked 2 goals really against the play. Let's not lose hope in what we've been doing. They've been really terrific around the contest. They just haven't quite finished off their work when having their shots at goal. So don't lose hope, but vice versa, how good the Collingwood players be feeling at the moment. Weathered the storm. 2 of their young guns go back and kick. Well, one from Ginnivan to start it off. Not an easy set shot, but
that was like he was playing a game of horse, though. He's just like, I'll just knock this through. And
certainly an easier shot than that one there. And what a finish.
Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport. Matt Clinch, Corbin Minimas and Tim Hodges back in the middle of the ground. Cox wins down the tap for Collingwood to Josh Dacos. Kicks towards McCreary at half forward. It clean bowls in. Sard races onto it for the Blues. Little toe poke to his own advantage. So clever. 1-on-1 and got Carlton out of defence. Hand pass to Fisher. Works it up to Chera. Centre wing. Dribbling kick towards Charlie Curnow. Got rid of Howe. Hand pass inboard for Motlop. Feeds it to Martin. Too sharp for him. Back onto the footy at half forward. Back into the middle of the ground. Hand pass to Pitnet. The ruckman bombs it long. Oh, he's underneath. In from the side. Darcy Moore brings it down. Noble ducked the tackle. Hand pass to Murphy. To Josh Dacos out of defence for Collingwood. Kicks over the head of side bottom. Little toe poke in front of Chera. The 2 tangle. Chera trying to get back after it. Cameron comes in for Collingwood. He knocks it the way of McCreary and it rolls out of play. Just short of left half forward for the Blues. It's Collingwood by 19 points. Carlton kicked 2 goals in this second quarter through 15 minutes. Collingwood with the last 2 goals of the match inside 4 minutes.
The Bulldogs beat Hawthorn earlier today. They had to come from 3 goals down to do it, so it means Carlton must win to play finals. From the boundary throw-in comes to Pendlebury, trickles a kick down the wing. McCreary fends off McGovern, sends Collingwood to half forward, but Young's back. Takes the intercept mark for Carlton.
Just not sure he can just keep on leaving Scott Pendlebury free at stoppages. They've had probably 3 or 4 this quarter where he's just stood there by himself and won the footy.
Young out to Mackay, flies in the air, no mark, spills to Chera, and he's shoved over the boundary line of the footy. Another throw-in right in front of the interchange gates.
I think at very worst, someone needs to go create a 2-for-1, because at the moment he's standing there in space. I know Fisher's coming up now as a half-forward flank, standing next to him, but that's a better look for Carlton.
Toss back into play. Cox and Pitnet. Cox went early. Pitnet just took it out of the ruck. Kicks towards half forward. Moore and Murphy are well set in the end. Either could have taken it. Darcy Moore takes the intercepting mark. 40 metres out from his defensive goal at the punt road end. Collingwood by 19 points. Moore kicks towards Mason Cox. Initiated body contact. Spills down from Cameron to Hoskin Elliott. Kicks towards Johnson at half forward. It rolls end over end and out of play in front of Heat and Marchbank for a throw-in front of the Ponsford stand. Packed house at the MCG for the second last match of the home and away season. Collingwood by 19 points. Pies looking to win to get inside the top 4. Blues needing to win to get inside the top 8. Toss back into play. Pitnet starts in front of Cox. Cox nudges him underneath the ball illegally. Umpire says it was a shove in the middle of the back, and Pitnet will take it.
And descent. So now 50. Pitnet will run with the footy all the way up into Carlton's front half. And they have had problems today trying to move the ball out of their defensive half up front. They get a lucky break here as a hand pass to Doherty. Looks for Silvani. No mark. Chris spoils. Falls down to Quaynor. Tackled by Silvani and a ball up. Centre half forward for Carlton. 5 goals to 2. Magpies by 19 points. Up it goes centre half forward for Carlton. Cox wins it down. Here's Fisher through traffic, tackled. Chris for the Magpies. Hand pass turned over. Motlop through a number of bodies. Chucks it on the boot. He misses everything. For the second time in the quarter, they put one out on the full. Carlton looking for home. They've gone 2-5 and a couple out on the full. Collingwood with their misses at the other end, 5-6. Pies by 19 points late in this second quarter. In front of, we think, around 90,000 at the MCG.
Darcy Moore goes short to Isaac Quaynor. Up to Jamie Elliott, who's in the back half. So Paddy Cripps-Murph has had 11 of his 16 disposals in this second quarter. He's had 5 clearances. Can the Blues get more bang out of their buck? Elliott up towards Hoskin. Elliott can't complete the mark, and Marchbank spoils it out of play.
He's been terrific this second quarter. I think if they'd finished on the scoreboard, you'd see that benefit, but unfortunately for Carlton, they've missed some really easy opportunities going inside 50, and then also their shots on goal. They just haven't kicked straight enough, really, so far to put that pressure on for all the good work they've been doing.
7 clearances for the match for Paddy Cripps. 3 centre bounce clearances. 6 kicks, 10 hand passes, 3 inside 50s. 13 of his 16 have been contested possessions. Setterfield to Cripps on cue. Gives it back to Setterfield. Off balance, kicks towards Martin at half forward. Worked his way to the front against Murphy. Not paid the mark as Murphy got a hand onto it. Motlop lays the tackle on Noble. Keeps it alive against the boundary. 50 out. Crisp over the top. Turns to the umpire. And they'll ball it up. In fact, it was Nick Dacos who slid over the top and then turned to the umpire, who will throw it up right on 50 for the Blues.
Magpies by 19. Up it goes, comes down to Pitnet, the Carlton ruckman. Hurried kick forward. Curnow down there keeps his feet, but Murphy lends a hand. Hurried kick back to halfback, and Josh Dacos marks. As the shadows start to lengthen at the G, as we close in on half-time. The kick from Josh Dacos up the wing. Cameron in the pack. Young thumps it down from behind. The footy comes back to him. Hurried kick forward. Josh Dacos onto it again. Carlton kicked the first 2 goals of this second quarter, and then a couple in the space of a few minutes for Collingwood. Nearly wiped off their advantage. The kick from Dacos out wide to Hoskin Elliott. He missed his intended target. Young for Carlton. Hand pass to Marchbank under pressure. High up and under on the wing. Cox just knocks it down for Collingwood. Doherty went without it. Cameron's there for Collingwood. Hand pass to Hoskin Elliott. Hands it out to Crisp. Hurried ball inside the forward 50. Tough one for Johnson to mark. Spills down to Young of the Blues. Handball away to Wiedering. And his hurried kick up to the wing will find Harry Mackay, who takes the mark in front of Collingwood's interchange. And that's half-time. Collingwood with a 19-point lead along break. And as it stands at the moment, the Pies will get themselves a double chance in September. Well, for Carlton, they must turn around a 19-point half-time deficit if they want their season to extend into September for the first time since 2013. A must-win game for the Blues. Collingwood playing for the double chance. The Pies 5-6, Carlton 2-5. The goal kickers Clinchy, 2 for Jack Ginnivan, 1 each for Sidebottom, Crisp and Johnson. While for Carlton, their 2 goals both came in that second term. Mackay with 1, Owies with the other.
Half-time of the MCG, Collingwood by 19 points after they led by 20 points at quarter time. The Blues won that second quarter with 2 goals 2 to Collingwood's 2 goals 1. The thoughts of Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport.
Yeah, well, it was a much better second quarter by Carlton then, but Collingwood just, the momentum was going against them, but they managed to get that scoreboard impact when it looked like Carlton was starting to get on top. Charlie Curnow took a few big grabs. Harry Mackay took a good mark and went back and kicked his goal, but they just sort of didn't quite capitalise on the opportunities they did have. Paddy Cripps had the 12 disposals then, but only going at 17% by foot at the moment, Lid. So
only 90 metres gained as well, Murph. It's like they're not capitalising enough on his bullocking work. He's had the 7 clearances, which is the most on the ground comfortably.
But Finn McRae's had the job on him most of the time around stoppages, so he's paying some really close attention to him. So he's certainly limiting the impact that Cripper can have around the contest. But it's sort of been, Cheru's had a terrific first quarter, then sort of drifted out of the game a little bit. Will Setterfield's getting plenty of the ball. Conversely, on the side of Collingwood, Josh Dacos has been really terrific with 17 disposals. He's used the ball really well.
Worked hard.
Pendlebury's, you just know what you're going to get out of Pendlebury. He's had the 12 disposals as well. Chris, it's sort of a really even sort of performance by Collingwood at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the thing that you love to see about a side. I reckon Richmond, to a certain extent, have almost done that as well when they're at their best. You don't have one player who stands out or 2 players that just have a heap of the footy. Not unlike Zach Merritt last night, has 37. The next best is like 25, 27. So an even spread is what you're after in your midfield or your half-backs, the guys that run and give you that dash. That's what Collingwood have been able to do. Not to the best of their ability. I don't think they've really got their game up and humming at the moment, but what they have done is settled and taken their opportunities when they've had them. Ginnivan been able to knock that one through. The Johnson Hail Mary from the grandstand that's a beauty in a big time game. But you look at the opportunity for Charlie Curnow. Conversely, on the other end, big mark, go back, kick your goals. Isn't able to do that.
No.
And those are the little moments, the things we spoke about pre-game, is that you can capitalise on those. That's when you're up for the fight, and your whole team lifts on the back of those. But when you continually miss, it's sort of like, oh, geez, I'm starting to get a bit nervy here. So that'll be one thing they'll probably speak about. But it's probably more a little bit about support for Paddy Cripps in the middle of the ground. Can we get a bit more bang for buck from his clearance work?
Yeah, well, it's probably more the guys around Paddy Cripps in terms of balancing off a little bit better. The Carlton are leading the clearances in 23 to 13, so they're up by 10. So you need to get bang for buck by those clearances. And at the moment, other than probably a 5 or 6 minute period throughout that second quarter, they weren't really getting great clean exits. They were getting a lot of rush football. Collingwood's pressure has been elite like it has been all year. So it's probably up for the other Carlton mids to really balance off Patrick Cripps a bit better and get more width in those handballs.
That's what Walsh does, doesn't he? He almost plays second fiddle to him perfectly.
That's a little bit of the missing link, and that's why they sort of, they call of sort of Batman and Robin around, because they know each other's game inside out, and Sam Walsh balances off really well. But I think it's up for guys like Doherty, who's been terrific so far in Setterfield, but to get better width around those contests and sort of work a little bit better together.
It feels a little bit like a Carlton playing tight. So if we talk about what the occasion means,
100%.
It feels like they've got a lot to lose, and they're playing that way. They're a little fumbly, whereas Collingwood are playing with a bit more freedom.
Yep.
Maybe given the result down in Launceston, the chance to reset at halftime, and Carlton can hopefully play a bit more freely.
Yeah. Well, they did look nervous for a quarter and a bit, didn't they? Really. So it was really uncharacteristic fumbles from Paddy Cripps. I know he's had the 17 disposals and he's working his way into the game, but Sard was another one who's been fantastic off the half-back flank. He had a few little skill errors which went back and they just scored straight from them. So there was a few little basics that they just didn't get quite right, and in the big games you need to get the fundamentals right more often than not.
Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio alongside Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass. Tim Hodges is down on the boundary.
Yeah, just star watching at the moment. It's got the star factor this game. Gene Simmons brought the match ball out. He had to go. He stayed for 10 minutes, then had a sound check at Rod Laver Arena across from the MCG for tonight's concert. And I'm just watching Jamal Murray, this star from the Denver Nuggets in the NBA. He's out there in the middle. I was told he was going to have a crack at umpiring one of the Auskick games, guys. So he's having a kick. He's having a kick out there at the moment with one of the Auskick balls. So I'll keep an eye on it. It could be worth a laugh, I think, if he does grab a whistle and has an umpire. So he's at the he's about centre-half forward at the moment. He's got the red cap on, and I think he's just loving the experience. He was taking pictures before out in the middle of the MCG. It is quite the sight with a full house, as we all know. But good to see some of stars from music and basketball checking it out as well.
Just sitting nicely alongside you, Hodgie. He's just worth about $29 million. He's a big commodity. Half-time here at the MCG. It's Collingwood leading Carlton by 19 points. Let's get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. An investigation into the former Prime Minister's secret ministries could be launched by the federal government. Here's our political reporter, Stephanie Boris.
Scott Morrison appointed himself to 5 departments between 2020 and 2021, giving him the authority to make decisions on matters if he saw fit. He kept it a secret from most of his colleagues. Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce says while he was told Mr Morrison had the ability to make a decision on the PEP 11 project, he wasn't told how or why.
He never said to me, I was the Minister for Resources.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says while it doesn't appear any laws were broken, he's considering an investigation.
There's separate questions about the functioning of our democracy.
Mr Albanese will receive legal advice on the matter from the Solicitor General tomorrow.
New South Wales has recorded its first local transmission of monkeypox, which causes fevers, headaches, body aches and rashes on the genital areas. Health authorities are urging the community to be vigilant for symptoms. Symptoms usually begin within 7 to 14 days after exposure. There have now been 42 cases of the virus in New South Wales. Meantime, a prominent clinical scientist says applying common sense safety measures will help limit the spread of monkeypox. Victorian health authorities are advising events that require closer intimate contact should be cancelled. Victoria is the only state which is seeing a big increase in locally acquired cases. 40 cases of the virus have been recorded in the state, about half acquired locally. The head of the School of Health Science at University of Melbourne, Professor Bruce Thompson, says the pandemic has left behind a few lessons.
The level of transmission of monkeypox compared to something like COVID is lower, so therefore the risk is lower, but that doesn't mean there's no risk. So I think what we've learned is that using things like masks, social distancing, hand sanitisation works.
The federal court will travel to the Tiwi Islands to hear evidence from traditional owners in a legal battle over drilling in the Santos Barossa gas project. On Monday, the court will hear from witnesses challenging fossil fuel projects. They'll give evidence on country, including in the form of song and dance. A Tiwi senior lawman is suing the federal offshore gas regulator for approving a plan by Santos to drill the Barossa gas field. The Russian-appointed governor of Sevastopol is urging people to remain calm after air defence systems were engaged again in the Crimean port city after several nights of Ukrainian drone attacks. As the BBC's James Waterhouse reports from Kyiv, the occupied city is the home to Russia's Black Sea naval fleet.
While the front line further north in Ukraine isn't really moving, it's a message to Russia to say, look, we are busting the myth that you can base your naval fleet next to Crimea, as well as stage aircraft there to launch attacks across the country. And it also challenges the very idea that Crimea is part of Russia. Kyiv's very keen to stress all along that it remains part of Ukraine.
Somali forces have claimed to defeated the militants who'd stormed a hotel in the capital Mogadishu after a bloody siege. At least 12 people were killed in the deadly 30-hour ordeal, although local media is reporting the death toll at 20. The assailants used explosives to gain entry to the Hyatt Hotel on Friday before violently taking control and holding guests hostage overnight. Islamist extremist group Al-Shabaab has taken responsibility for the attack. Falling river levels in Europe are showing up a lot of long-forgotten items, and it's not confined to supermarket trolleys and car tyres. And the falling Danube has exposed hulks of dozens of explosive-laden German ships scuttled during World War II. River levels are dropping across Europe as it endures its worst drought in decades. And the AFL club Essendon has sacked its coach Ben Rutten. Tom Maddox reports.
New Bombers President David Barham today informed Rutten of the board's decision to terminate his contract with a year remaining on the deal. In a statement, Barham says while it's been a tough time for Rutten and his family, the Bombers have been uncompetitive at times this season and the club was compelled to make the call. It follows a tumultuous week in which the Bombers failed to lure Alistair Clarkson as head coach, with the former Hawthorn coach instead choosing North Melbourne. The Bombers now begin the search for Rutten's replacement.
And in Women's Rugby League, the St George Illawarra Dragons have opened their premiership campaign with an emphatic 26 points to 12-point win over the Gold Coast Titans. You're up to date with the latest from ABC News.
Hello, I'm Patrick Stack, and if you like great stories and you enjoy sport, then I reckon you need ABC Sport Daily in your life.
A prisoner swap is the most likely outcome.
You're not really worried about the power of the wave. It's trying to tear you apart.
Sometimes described as like the poor cousin to the Tour de France, but I think that's terribly unfair.
It just happened, really, a bit like the rest of my life.
It's a daily sports conversation, and it's called ABC Sport Daily. Find us on the ABC Listen app.
The current has drawn her home.
Clean slate, as far as I'm concerned.
But in new ABC drama, Savage River...
Do you think coming here's a good idea?
It runs deeper than she imagined.
You took my daughter from me.
Who are you going to kill next, huh?
Has anyone seen my dad since yesterday?
Starring Golden Globe nominee Catherine Langford.
I just want to live my life like everyone else, that's all.
And you shouldn't let anyone take that away from you.
Savage River.
What kind of evil are you?
Starts Sunday, September 4 on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Jack Martin takes a juggled mark to the punt right end where the Blues are attacking. Perfect placement. Inside 50 to Owies, who hugs it to his chest. Been waiting for a reason to roar so far as Owies goes back and puts the Baggers in business.
Mason Cox against Silvani, wins down the tap, spills to Owies, he kicks inside 50 for Carlton. Here's Harry Mackay on the lead. Harry Mackay looking for the key targets to get involved. Out to the right he goes, the drop punt, and the Blues have their second.
Josh Dacos looks for Hoskin. Elliott overcooks the kick, mops it up to the Pies, tumbles it down the wing, finds Smyercheck, stands up with the footy, hands it back to Hoskin Elliott to Ginnivan. Jack Ginnivan, what a year he's had. No second-year Blues, just second-year black and white. Noble, very conservative, is going to go long into the forward pocket. Johnson's down there, and Markey right in front of the Collingwood race off a couple of steps, trying to bend it through. That's sensational. What a finish from Johnson.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Great to have your company on Sunday afternoon footy. It's Collingwood by 19 points at the MCG against Carlton, 5-6-36 to the Blues, 2-5-17. Matt Lynch and Corbin Metamas calling the action. Tim Hodges down on the boundary. Your experts are Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio. In the NRL today, round 23, in the early match, it was St George Illawarra over the Gold Coast Titans, 46 points to 26. And in the later game, it's the Newcastle Knights leading 12 points to 4 against Canberra. Don't forget, if you want to catch up with the best of Grandstand AFL Sunday, you can do so wherever you get your podcast from at the best of ABC Sport. There's also The Lead, which featured Simon Goodwin, Justin Lepage and Sonia Hood, the North Melbourne president, from Saturday. And, of course, Corbin and Ben, where you hear Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio regularly. The other member of that duo is Ben Cameron, who's going to be keeping us across St Kilda and Sydney this afternoon. Ben, there's a bit to work to. Welcome to you.
Yeah, thanks, Clinchy. There is a lot to make sense of in this fixture. So the 198th and final game of the home and away season, and it will decide the final makeup of the ladder, St Kilda and Sydney. It's just got underway. Sydney need to win, and they need to make up 2.2% on Melbourne for a top two finish. They roughly need to win by about 8 goals plus if that's to take place. The teams, what I can tell you, no late changes for either of these two sides. For St Kilda, Dean Kent is the Medi-sub in his 100th and final game. For the Swans, Sam Wicks is the Medi-sub. Sydney win, they'll finish in the top 4. If they win well enough, likely 8 goals plus, as I said, they'll finish in the top 2 and have those 2 home finals. If St Kilda win, Fremantle finish in the top 4, Sydney finish 5th, and Collingwood, assuming they win today, obviously are in the top 4 as well. So that's what I'm looking out for as it stands at the moment. St Kilda have scored first. They've scored the opening behind of the match through the opening 70 seconds, Clinchy.
Thanks, Ben. Get your calculator on the ready and we'll stay in touch throughout the afternoon. Ben Cameron keeping us across St Kilda and Sydney. Plenty of your correspondence coming through on the SMS 0437 774 774. This is one of the most enjoyable Sunday afternoons I've had. I'm guessing that might have been a Collingwood fan. The Baggers have been building themselves up all week since they lost last week. Getting a little bit nervous. And I'm on the edge of my seat. This is a nail-biter, and I know this game won't be an easy win for Collingwood, but I like watching Mason Cox. He's having a far better year this year than he did last year. That's from Fran in Melbourne. Jackie on Twitter as well, saying just awesome. And Shauna said, great work, team. By the way, every time I hear the name Murphy called in the game, I keep thinking it's Mark. Well, no, unfortunately, he's alongside us, and that's Nathan Murphy for Collingwood that we're making reference to. Of course, the big news story throughout the afternoon earlier in the day was that the Essendon board had met earlier today. They decided that they would part ways with Ben Rutten effective immediately. So after 44 games at the helm of the Bombers, they will be searching for a new coach. Here were the thoughts of Xavier Campbell, the CEO, and David Barham, the president.
Yeah, I feel supported. It's been a difficult week. That's easy to tell. But I feel we're all got the best interest of the Essendon Football Club. That's where there is absolute alignment. I think, look, obviously it's known that I've been a big supporter of Ben, and we've invested heavily in Ben, all those sorts of things. But just like the decision to hire Ben is a decision we make as a group, today's decision is a decision we make as a group.
Well, the board is doing what it thinks is in the best interest of the club. So we made decisions that we think give us the best chance of getting sustained success. We've had a long time without success. I think our fans, our members, they all want us to get success as quickly as possible, and that's what we're doing. Look, the board meeting today was a rigorous discussion. We all had different points of view. It went for 3 hours. It wasn't a small discussion. It was a really long discussion. So everyone will consider where they're at. But no, I think we're going to come out of this pretty united.
David Barham, the Bombers new president, as of Monday, taking over from Paul Brasher, and Xavier Campbell, the CEO, who we haven't heard a lot of.
So what happens then next year? It's finals, or that coach gets the sack too, or what's the go?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, there's only 18 jobs at the end of the day, but if you were a coach in waiting, you'd be thinking long and hard, wouldn't you, about the job you're applying for and the people...
Geez, you're under the pump straight up.
Well, this
how
time,
are they going to judge you?
This time last year, we were having a very similar conversation about Carlton. It felt like, what more do they need? They're set up. They've got just about every area of the ground covered. I always say they're like Noah's Ark. They've got 2 of every animal. They've got 2 up front. They've got Cripps and Walsh. They've got small forwards. They've got Doherty and Sard off the back flank. They went out and recruited heavily. And they had this long, drawn-out departure of David Teague. Essendon have had a long, drawn-out departure of Ben Rutten. Their list is set up to contend now. They go out and go to market and try and get a coach. Carlton went and got Michael Voss.
Yep.
Spent 22 of the 23 weeks in the top 8, and we got a half a footy here to see whether they're going to play finals or not. But as it stands right now, it looks like they're going to miss. And Essendon find themselves almost in exactly the same position. And yet people throughout the majority of the year have said Voss has done a great job and it's been a successful year for Carlton. And if they don't ultimately make the 8, they're going to find themselves in the same spot as 9 other clubs, and one of them is Essendon, probably 12 months behind where the Blues were.
It felt like Ben Rutten last night kind of had his David Teague moment. Either back me or sack me, and the news came through before we got to lunchtime that sacked him. Murph, when the players are in this scenario, and it sounds like the Essendon players weren't all that thrilled about the communication that had taken place, how challenging for that playing group can it be?
Oh, it's a very challenging period whenever you're at a club and you're a player, and there's a lot of talk and innuendo about what's happening with the coach. So there's obviously going to be players there that love Ben Rutten, and there'll be players there that'll be happy to see him move on. So there'll be players in each sort of camp, and as leaders of that football club, Dyson Heppell's got obviously a big decision to make about his own career, doesn't he, about whether he stays at the football club or he's got an offer to go to the Gold Coast Suns. So there's going to be a lot of change at that football club, but as players, those leaders of that football club need to just make sure that those players are all sticking together, and they take some time now to rest and recuperate and understand where they went wrong from last pre-season and throughout this season, and get better as a playing group. But they're going to have to wait and find out who that coach is going to be.
The timeline is extraordinary. On reflection, I know they tried to move to make an 11th hour pitch for Alistair Clarkson, but
it's amateurish, if you ask me.
And not to mention the Giants are going to announce their next coach, potentially in a matter of days.
Amazing.
Players are out in position. It's Collingwood who lead by 19 points, 5-6-36 to the Blues, 2-5-17. Collingwood playing for a spot in the top 4. The Blues need to win to feature in September. Here we go, second half about to get underway. Here's Corbin Middlemass.
A bumper crowd, around 90,000 in to watch these 2 arch rivals go at it. Collingwood for a spot in the top 4, and Carlton to extend their season into September for the first time in 9 years as Pitternet squeezed out a hand pass under pressure, the first real action of the second half, and it's taken by Cherries, locked up by De Goey, and we've got another ball up. Still inside the centre square. They throw a blanket really over around 15 players. Cripps hacks a kick forward for Carlton. Martin makes a play at it, grabs the footy, tackled by Murphy, got a hand pass away. It's taken by Doherty, and he's locked up. We'll have the ball up here, centre half forward for the Blues. They're kicking to the City end in the third term. They didn't kick a single goal to this end of the ground at the opening quarter. Collingwood by 19.
Thrown up, Pitternet knocks it forward. Silvani cannons into his own teammate in Cripps. It spills to Chera, who snaps on the left in the opening goal the way of the Blues. Inside a minute of the third term. And that's what they needed to close the gap to 13 points Collingwood's way. The Pies 5-6-36 to Carlton 3-5-23. And there's a bit of concern amongst the Carlton fans as Paddy Cripps is down on all fours.
As he looks like he's done a rib.
Yeah, that's what I would suggest.
By the looks of it, he's made a huge collision with Jack Silvani, and it's a great goal by Adam Chera, but the skipper looks like he's in a bit of strife here.
He is over on all fours and will have to come to the bench.
Went to get up and then went straight back down again, didn't he? I think so. Yeah.
Maynard's came to check he's okay, and I think he's given him a nice little tap straight to the ribs, and he's down on all fours again.
He's definitely broken a rib there.
He can hardly move. Well, no, you're going to have a Dermot Brereton moment here.
You can't have too many players on the field. So
he was supposed to come off, I think, and Setterfield's ran on.
There's going to be a 6-6-6 warning going against Carlton. They weren't quite in position. Collingwood by 13 points. And Patrick Cripps in real danger at the moment as he's still hunched over after that collision with his own teammate Jack Silvani. And a Carlton team that has come in already without Sam Walsh in the middle of the ground. Pendlebury, another clean touch. Hand pass to De Goey. He fumbles. Doherty's got him holding the ball. Free kick, Carlton.
This is where, as a player, if you're Patrick Cripps, you just try and talk yourself into the fact you're going to walk out a stinger here, but he looks pretty sore.
Now 50. As De Goey caught in a conversation with Doherty, and then he just moved on the mark before the umpire had called play on. And Sam Doherty, who wins the free for holding the ball, will now have a shot at goal.
Well, I just had a look on the replay, and you can see it going through Geordie De Goey's head. He's like, I've just been caught holding the footy. I want to do everything right to try and get this ball back from my teammate, and old habits die hard, unfortunately. When you've been told to stand, you have to stand. And off he took. And Sam Doherty played it beautifully. Experience.
One of the moments of the season so far was way back on the first Thursday of the year when Doherty kicked a goal on his return. This would bring the house down again. 2 in a row to start the third term for the Blue Baggers. And game right back on. Collingwood's lead cut to 7. Carlton moved to 4-5-29. Collingwood 5-6-36. 3.5 minutes into the third term on Grandstand AFL.
They've been a bit lenient, I reckon, the umpires today with that standing rule.
Yeah,
they've sort of let probably 3 or 4 off from both sides, really. So that was an obvious one because there was a bit of break in play, but just experience there by the former skipper and the actual current skippers whilst back into the centre square. So
that's got to be encouraging, doesn't it?
I think he's obviously walked it off. He's had 2 or 3 minutes to recover. So we'll find out by the first bit of body contact, and Jordan De Goey's getting right into him at the moment.
Well within your rights to test him out here, absolutely.
Sam Doherty with his 3rd goal this season, one of 4 Blues to play every game this season, back in the middle of the ground. Umpire slipped over, free kick for a hold, it's going Collingwood's way. Just as Cripps is about to break out of the middle of the ground.
That's a terrible decision.
Jordan, you're going the wrong way, mate. You're going the wrong way, Geordie.
He's just realised that. He feeds off the hand pass to Maynard, who kicks Collingwood inside 50. Meyer checked the target, clears him. Wiedering knocks it down to McGovern. His hand pass is wide of Young. And it goes out of play in the left forward pocket for Collingwood under the Olympic stand.
Just go back to that free kick. So De Goey's getting into Patrick Cripps, who's watching the ball, and De Goey's got his back to play, and Cripps basically pushed him aside and given away a free kick. So poor umpiring, I thought.
Collingwood by 7. Carlton 2 quick goals to start the third. Here's De Goey from the boundary throw-in. Got a hand pass to Pendlebury. He's locked up straight away. Chera with the tackle and a ball up. 35 out from Collingwood's goal at the punt road end. Early stages of the third term. High stakes. Penultimate game of the home and away season. Kick smothered. Ricochets its way to Collingwood. Hand pass from Lipinski to Crespi. Kicks across the half-forward line. Louis Young in the box seat. Thought he had his arms ripped down. Wins the footy anyway. Hand pass to Cripps. Feeds it out further wide to Silvani. Caught in a tangle with McCreary. Here's Motlop. Hurried kick forward for Carlton. Howe's up in front of Curnow. And Jeremy Howe with the intercept mark. Defensive side of the wing for the Magpies. Collingwood by 7. 5 played in the third term.
Howe gesturing to right half forward where he'll send it towards the middle of the ground. Cameron was bundled over by Pitnet. Saar taps it to the advantage of fellow defender Young. Back to Marchbank. Little fumble. Knocked it away from Sidebottom. Young tried to sock it off the ground. Through the legs of McCreary. Lipinski's hand pass picked off. Setterfield kicks up towards a stationary Owies. Maynard knocked it down and then sockers it forward to McCreary. Left half forward. Hand pass boundary side to Sidebottom. His hand pass missed Lipinski. And Marchbank's pretty keen to take it over the boundary line. There's a few Carlton fans in the front row leaning over and applauding in the Olympic stand.
They're a bit reluctant just to bomb that in there. I think given the tools that Carlton have got down there, they're trying to find a nice target. They're a bit undersized, the Pies, so don't want to just bomb it in high.
Collingwood by 7 points, thrown back in. Pitnet and Cameron in a tangle. Comes to the front where Doherty kicks around the members' wing. Martin tangles with Quaynor. It spills off Jack Martin and across the boundary line for a throw-in. Just below our broadcast position, in front of the two benches, Collingwood by 7.
Adam Saab just a little winded as he hit the bench. Patrick Cripps after the friendly fire, the collision with Silvani, still out there, looks to be okay. Collingwood by 7. 6.5 into the third term for the boundary throw-in. We've got another ball up. It was Pitnet. It was wanted down to Doherty. It was tackled immediately. Back to the field umpire. Up it goes. Members wing. Cameron grabs it out of the ruck. Hands it to McRae. Hurried kick. Slides off the boot. Lipinski up. No mark. Pressure from Setterfield. Williams keeps it alive for Carlton. Kicks to half forward. Murphy crashes through the pack. Punches it back inboard. Live footy. Curnow onto it. Slips out of his grasp. Picked up by Chera. Spun around. Umpire says... one called help without it. One called driven in the tackle.
What happens there?
It's a free kick for Carlton.
Sling tackle, was it?
Chera's going to get it. And there was 2 umpires in the vicinity. One called, he was driven in the tackle, slung down by Sidebottom. The other said he was held without it.
He's played for that.
Yeah, that's a free kick for Collingwood. That's holding the ball.
Carlton getting the rub of the grain to start this third term.
That's not Cam Rayner, is it?
Nah, not at all.
That's a good tackle. That's just a genuine tackle, and the ball's
just gone
free,
floppy.
so that should be a free kick to Collingwood.
Pies fans are filthy, but Adam Chera with a drop pump from 55 metres out. That is pure. The Blues are rolling. Impressive start to the third term for Carlton. 3 in a row, and Collingwood's lead has been cut to a single point. 9 played in the third term. 5-6 to 5-5. Carlton have not led all day. They're within a point here, start of the third term.
Well, what annoys me about that is that he's brought that on with being thrown to the ground by going limp, basically. And if he gets concussed there, then still Sidebottom's in trouble, you know. So I feel like I know the responsibilities on the tackler. I get that. We're trying to protect the head and everything else. But the free kick was there earlier, and if he hears that whistle go because he's dropped the ball, the tackle ends. You know, you wouldn't see Steele Sidebottom drag him to the ground.
No, 100% agree, because he stood up in the tackle and then realised once he'd dropped the ball and lost it and realised it was going to be a free kick against, he's just thrown himself backwards. So very fortunate there, Carlton.
Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport. The Blues as close as they've been since the opening minutes of the match. Cox slaps it forward for Collingwood. Ginnivan couldn't take it. Running onto it, Zach Williams. He kicks towards Chera at half forward. Noble worked him underneath. They slipped over. Noble's hand pass to Nick Dacos. Veers away from Owies. Pulls his kick towards Pendlebury. Trying to hold off Doherty. Spilled it down towards Josh Dacos. He toe pokes it away from Cottrell. Around the members' wing. Myerchip couldn't gather. Wiedering could for Carlton. Back to Williams. Kicks towards Owies and Nick Dacos. It spills to the front. Chera locked up by Noble. Tries to knock the footy clear. Picnic tries to slide in. Nick Dacos got it out to Pendlebury for Collingwood. To Josh Dacos. Ran into Marchbank. Great tackle. Locks him up on the Mendemus wing and wins a free kick for holding the ball. That felt like a moment.
Big tackle. Yeah, what an atmosphere out there. The whole crowd just standing up and applauding.
Caleb Marchbank, who's missed so much footy in front of a packed MCG.
Debut back in 2015, just his 52nd game for Marchbank. He comes out wide to Curnow. The Coleman medal winner this year without a goal so far today. They've been at a premium. Carlton going inside 50 to the pack. Jeremy Howe sits in front of 8 bodies, can't rip it down from the sky. What a spectacular fly in front of the pack. Not to be, and a ball up at the foot of the pack.
Oh, you've got to pay that. Huge jump.
Cox grabs it out of the ruck from the restart. Forward pocket for Carlton. Gets it out of the defensive 50. Off hands of Silvani. Spills to Ginnivan. Tries to soccer it to side bottom. He's bumped over. Ump says that's all fair. And a boundary throw in. 60 out from the Carlton goal.
Jeez, how about the hang time? Got horizontal, Jeremy Howe, and then took the ball all the way to ground. And it was only the impact with the ground that bobbled the ball free.
Incredible aerial leap. Thrown back in, Silvani into the ruck against Mason Cox. They tangle in a physical battle. Cox knocks it down. Lipinski can't take it. Doherty's there. Not officiating umpire says a hold. And it's going the way of Sam Doherty for the Blues. Between wing and half forward on the members' side. Doherty looks inside 50. Sends it towards Charlie Curnow. He works his way from the back to the front and takes the mark.
It's a smart kick because Harry Mackay let up and Moore went with him and was just about to drop off and intercept that ball, but just went a bit more corridor, Sam Doherty, so it didn't allow Moore to get back and impact the contest as a third man in. And just let Charlie Curnow just run and jump at it, which is when he's at his best.
Slightly right of centre, 35 metres out from not playing footy for more than 2 years to winning the Coleman and putting the Blues in front. Here they come. And listen to the noise from the MCG. 12 minutes gone, third term. Carlton lead by 5 points. They've kicked 4 goals to none in this third term. 6-5-41 to the Magpies, 5-6-36.
Well, you can talk about how good that kick was, but I want to talk about the special forward attributes that this kid's got. My God, he's come from about 20 or 30 metres away with someone hanging off him, but just launches at the footy. And that's the beauty of Charlie Curnow. He's not 199, with go-go gadget arms. He just goes off pure athletic ability, work rate, spring, good hands, and he's added kicking straight mostly to his game this year.
A game living up to the event. First lead change of the contest. Carlton in front by 5. Cox in the middle of the ground, tackled with it. And Silvani lays that and will have a ball up inside the centre circles. Cox picks himself up. Silvani rucking for Carlton. Cox just knocks it forward. Sard knocks it down and then just sockers it high up and under out towards the members' wing. Punched forward by side bottom. Marchbank there for the Blues. Hand pass to Doherty off half back. Kicks down the wing. Quaynor leaping up over Motlop. No mark. Nick Dacos can't keep it in. And a boundary throw in right on halfway. Carlton by 5 points. They've kicked 4 quick goals to start the third quarter, which is only 13 minutes old.
Been really smart here, Carlton, around the stoppages because he's got Mason Cox going against Jack Silvani, so he's going to want to try and get out in space. So most Carlton midfielders need to be on the back shoulder and waiting for that outside ball.
Both Michael Voss and Craig McRae coaching from the bench. They're watching on like all of us at the moment from the throw-in. There's nowhere for Lipinski to go as he's locked up by O'Brien. In fact, it was Setterfield who laid the tackle. Cox and Silvani. Cox wins it down to McRae, tries to break away from Cripps. Doherty's hand pass just gains territory. Side bottom onto it, brush the tackle. Quick 1-2 with Lipinski. Back to McRae, hard against the boundary. Turns to kick inboard, spoiled. Cripps gets it to Cottrell. Carlton to half forward. Quaynor works his way in front. Takes the intercepting mark against Motlop at left half back. Collingwood trail by 5 points.
Quaynor from one back flank to the other. And Noble out of the defensive 50 finds Josh Dacos. Boundary line southern side, short kick to Hoskin Elliott. Carlton by 5. Hoskin Elliott looks inboard, dangerous kick, but it's a good one. Lipinski marks outer edge of the centre square. She's short kick to McRae. Drops down to one knee to take the mark. Logo, southern wing. Plays on by hand to Noble. Draws the defender in McGovern. Hand pass out to Josh Dacos. Puts Collingwood inside 50. Cameron works his way to the front. Takes the mark for Collingwood.
It was well worked in the end, wasn't it? By Noble, just didn't panic. You know, he had big brackets McGovern on the hop. He wanted to commit, but he didn't want to get stepped and allow them to have the overlap. So he played it reasonably well as a defender as well. But Dacos, been a beautiful user all day. Just put it to Cameron's advantage. He slipped Jack Silvani. Too big, too strong, down up in their forward line.
So Darcy Cameron is shooting from right half forward. He'll kick from about 40 metres out. Collingwood need this to hold some momentum. He misses. Out to the left and behind. It's Collingwood's first score of this third term. 16 minutes into the third quarter. Pies 5-7. Carlton 6-5. Blues by 4 points, having trailed by as many as 20. They've kicked the only 4 goals of the third term.
Williams brings the Blues back into play. Spots Stocker free. Worked it up to him. He takes the mark at right half back. Let's check in with Ben Cameron. St Kilda and Sydney.
2 points courtesy of Ben Long, who's kicked a goal. So the Saints leading by 2 points, 4 minutes away from quarter time.
Thanks, Benny. So 3-3-21 to Sydney, 3-1-19. Inside 50. Cox flies in the pack. In front position. Mackay tries to knock it out. Nowhere for Crisp to go. He's tackled. Footy stuck to him. And the umpire will ball it up after Fisher's kick inside 50.
How good Sam Docherty been the start of this third quarter. It's been enormous around the ball, and Zach Williams starting to get his hands on the ball around the half-back flank.
From the restart, Cottrell squeezes the kick forward. Mop in front. No mark. Pack forms around him. Ball up. 35 out from the Carlton goal.
He's had 6 disposals so far, Sam Docherty, this third quarter, and 3 clearances and a goal.
Silvani again, undersized, rucking against Cox. Silvani wins a head out, but side bottom for the Magpies. Hand pass to McRae. Out of the defensive 50, only momentarily. Cottrell marks. Between wing and half forward for Carlton, it's a crowded forward 50. He's going to go long into the right forward pocket at the city end. In front, Mackay rips it down as a number of bodies hit the deck behind him. And Harry has it right forward pocket.
Put it in the book, don't you, from here with this left foot curler. It's where he's most comfortable. How strong was that? Big Mason, if you're going to get down there and help your defenders, you've got to get some body on, or you've got to impact the play. Did neither. It's
a big mark with Jeremy Howe as well in that contest, so 2 for 1.
Mackay, left foot to bend it back through. In it goes, and the Blues are humming. 5 straight in this third quarter. And what was a 20-point deficit is now a 10-point lead for the Blue Baggers. 7-5 to 5-7. 18 minutes played in the third term. Harry Mackay with his second.
It's been the story of their year, Carlton. They go on really hot streaks, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Ride the momentum.
They've been able to win games of footy purely by just 20 to 30 minutes of really strong football where they just go bang, 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 bang. And that's what they've done so far here in this third quarter. But we know from what we've seen from Collingwood, they'll keep coming because they just always do it. They've got enormous belief in the way in which they go about it. So you couldn't be any happier, though, if you're a Carlton fan here today watching the way in which they've come out after this half-time break. They've just looked to control the ball. They've set up really well defensively, been terrific around the contest.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Harry Mackay straight off the ground after that goal. He was pretty uncomfortable after taking that mark. He's gone straight down to the rooms.
Cripps got the clearance to Pitnet, back to Cripps, the centre field kicks towards 50, Cripps involved again, hand pass to Owies at right half forward, O'Brien inside 50, almost Setterfield couldn't, it was Setterfield, couldn't quite take the mark, lunging down low to his left, and Collingwood's able to lock it up 45 metres out from the Blues goal. 5 goals straight for Carlton in this third term. Collingwood have managed just behind. Pitnet tries to knock it down, squeezed forward by O'Brien. It comes the way of Crisp of Collingwood. He kicks towards half-back. Elliott knocks it on. Got it to McCreery. Collingwood streaming down the members' wing. Second bounce to McCreary. A third as he gets to left half forward. Can he go all the way? Squares it up. Lipinski can't take the mark. Spoiled down by Stocker. Got it to Chera. The Blues out of defence as Saad gives it to Williams.
Williams kicks up the members' wing. Silvani and Murphy carries them both. Fisher's there for Carlton. Keeps it in the field of play. Kicks to Curnow one-on-one with Moore. Curnow wins.
Wow.
The All-Australian calibre defender and the Coleman medalist, and Charlie Curnow takes the mark in the one-on-one.
I'm disappointed for Bo McCreary because he had the speed to continue to go there. It was just, he was trying to be unselfish and bring his teammates into it, but he needed to back himself, finish that goal. But how good was the return serve of Carlton there. Zachy Williams half-back, and then the nice kick to Curnow in front. Big kick this from outside 50.
What a roll they're on. Curnow loads up from long range. He's going to miss out to the right. Carlton a 7-6, Collingwood a 5-7. The Blues by 11 points, time on in the third term.
It's great football to watch at the moment. It's so aggressive with their ball use, both sides at the moment. It's been a real finals-like game.
5 goals won, the Blues in this term. As Maynard kicks long. Up goes Young and Pitnet. Neither can take the mark. Chera for Carlton to Young. Tackled by Johnson. McCreary over the top, and the umpire will ball it up. Just alongside the AFL logo on the members' side. So 7-1 the tackles inside 50 Carlton's way. They've taken 8-6 marks inside 50 as well. Pitnet tries to do the roving. Kicks towards half forward. Fisher knocked it on. Cleverly to Silvani. Hand pass to Setterfield. Long to Curnow. Moore spoils it down. Curnow at ground level. Can't get boot to it. Motlop swoops on the left. Kicks the goal. Jesse Motlop providing the X factor. And the Blues have kicked 6 goals to none in this third term. They're out by 17. 8-6-54 to Collingwood 5-7-37. 21 minutes gone, third term.
Well, this is going to test out Collingwood here because once they usually get behind, they go even more adventurous, don't they? Go back through the middle and really take the game on. Unfortunately, they're just panicking a little bit with the footy. They're not playing that calmness, or with that calmness that they had at the start of the game. They're absorbing the pressure, being calm with their hands, hitting their targets. But we see Jack Chris get one across the centre-half back, just rush, bang, and try to get it going forward. You know, that's where I think Collingwood just need a calm head. Can we find a couple of targets, get it forward and get a shot on goal just to take a deep breath? But tell you what, Carlton are riding this wave of momentum at the moment and cashing in.
17 points, Carlton's lead, having trailed by 20. What a swing in this game. 6 goals plus as Pendlebury in the middle. Hand pass away to Elliott. Some go forward for Collingwood. He overcooks the kick. And Williams takes the intercept mark. And here go Carlton on the slingshot. Short kick to Chera. Centre half back. The former Docker goes out to half forward. Howe racing back after it with Silvani. Howe goes to ground. Silvani stands up. His hand pass knocked down. And out of play, a boundary throw in, 60 out from the Carlton goal. Tim Hodges in the front row.
Harry Mackay back from the rooms, back on the ground. Amazingly, he went down to the rooms for a poke in the eye, which came after he kicked that goal from the boundary from his teammate Charlie Curnow. So thankfully he's okay. He's back on the ground, but that was serious friendly fire.
So a bit of friendly fire in this third term for the Blues with Cripps and Silvani colliding. And Mackay getting some friendly fire. Pitnet taps it down to the front. Cripps runs out of room.
Doesn't surprise me with Charlie Curnow. He's all arms and legs. The big thoroughbred.
And a throw in at right half forward for the Blues. What a surge it's been in this third term. They lead by 17 points. Cameron tries to knock it down for Collingwood. Cripps brushes the tackle. Kicks a high ball inside 50. Motlop's in the pack. Can't take the mark. Silvani runs onto it. Hand pass to Cottrell. Turns on his left. Snaps on goal. It's across the face to the left. And a minor score. The Blues by 18 points. 23 minutes gone, third term.
I think that last stoppage, that's been the difference in this third quarter, Lids, is the clearances. They're winning them, but they're getting yardage from clearances, whereas the first half they're probably handballing a little bit too much, Carlton, around the stoppage, whereas now they're just starting to get the ball forward by foot.
Moore on the kick out, goes wide to Cameron, one-on-one with Pettinet. Pettinet brings it down for Carlton. Side bottom there though for the Pies. Hand pass to Nick Dacos, back to Cameron, still at half-back. Hurried kick down the wing, lands on its point, high bounce. Elliott tries to knock it on, but straight into the lap of Williams. Puts Carlton inside 50. Howe leads to the footy. Mackay knocks it out of his hand. Side bottom mops it up. Sweeping hand pass back to Moore in the defensive 50.
Looks out to the southern wing, puts it out to Lipinski, who takes the mark. Out right half back for Collingwood. Works it up by foot to Myercheck. He marks between wing and half forward. Crisp is running hard. Puts it towards him. Wietering the other way. Got a spoil onto it. Carlton are winning all the big moments at the moment. And spoils it out of play, much of the applause of the Carlton fans.
It was a big moment. Jacob Wietering had the job there on Johnson and left his man to go make an impact, and that he did, and got the ball straight over the line. So huge play there with Crisp out by himself.
Carlton by 18 points, throwing back in on half forward for Collingwood. Cameron over the back to Pendlebury, hand pass to Maynard, to Nick Dacos on 50, over the top to Ginnivan. Can he go for goal? Turns on his left, yes he can! Ice cold! Jack Ginnivan with his third. And finally, Collingwood find a way to answer back. Carlton's lead cut back to 12 points. The Blues 8-7-55 to Collingwood 6-7-43. Jack Ginnivan with Collingwood's first goal since the 23-minute mark of the second quarter.
You keep on hearing about Jack Ginnivan not having too many tricks or not something too exciting about him. But
how many do you want?
How many tricks do you want on a big stage? Just to turn on your left there and just composed as anything and just go back and slot that from 45 when all the momentum of this game has been shifted straight towards Carlton's way. He's been fantastic. He's kicked his third, but just been awesome all year.
This time last week he had ice on his left hamstring and here he is bobbing on through on the run.
Saving himself for the big stage, Corby.
Match-winning performance on Anzac Day. Picked up the medal as the player judge Besterfield. He's got 3 of Collingwood's 6 here. And a crucial goal in the context of the game. Carlton by 12. Free kick in the middle. And a high tackle. It's going Chera's way. So another centre break coming up for Carlton, who have dominated this third quarter. 26.5 minutes old, the third term. Chera long kick inside 50. Mackay up in front, spills down to Martin. Hands it to Cripps. Sweeping hand pass to Curnow. Standing start, 45 out. Curnow has got another for the Blues. A quarter that wouldn't look out of place in September. Carlton by 18 points. And Charlie Curnow kicks his second. Both of them coming in this third term. And Carlton make it 7 for the term. 9-7 to 6-7. A 3-goal lead for Carlton late in the third term.
What I love about that, Murph, is that Charlie Curnow's sitting the other end. He's like, okay, I see you, Jack Ginnivan. I see it and I raise you one. I'm just going to go right foot to the boundary, one step, knock it through. That's a big-time goal from a big-time player. Love it.
You'd almost rather Charlie Curnow not have set shots from inside 50 and just get the ball given to him over the top like that, because that's just pure class from the big fella. And signed his big 6-year deal. He's been a bit of a unicorn through his first part of his career and just been awesome so far.
Carlton by 18 points. They answer straight back. Cripps with the clearance to Silvani. Non-officiating umpire says a whistle. He's not paid advantage, even though it's a Carlton free kick, and Doherty was about to kick inside 50. Let's get an update from Dockland. St Kilda and Sydney, Ben Cameron.
Quarter time, Sydney leading by 5 points. Chad Warner with a great running goal, picked it up backward of the logo, a couple of bounces, goal from inside the centre square. Sydney by 5.
Setterfield's free kick in the end, kicks long towards 50. Cameron in front, spoiled it down from Curnow. Motlop gathers, he runs into Crisp. And Jack Martin lays the tackle to lock the ball inside 50 for the Blues. Over 90,000 at the MCG. Carlton with finals on the line, lead by 18.
One down to Martin, shakes a tackle, kick smothered, spills down to Motlop, taps it to Doherty, still centre half forward for the Blues. Hand pass to Cottrell, gives it to Setterfield, kicks to the top of the goal square. Curnow dragged down, no free kick. Line footy forward pocket for the Blues. Cripps knocks it out back door. Motlop hands it to Mackay for another, he misses. A little too much bend over his shoulder. And a behind Carlton by 19 points, so from 20 down to 19 up. 9-8 to 6-7. Approaching the half-hour mark in the third term.
When you talk about forward pressure that we wanted to see from Carlton, they've had 7 tackles to Collingwood's 1 inside 50, so they've certainly stepped that up in this third quarter.
Nick Dacos brings Collingwood back into play, kicks towards Johnson, who flew at half-back, couldn't take the mark. Cripps in front position, knocks it towards O'Brien, and it goes out of play. Carlton was 7-3 in this third quarter to Collingwood's 1-1. It's the inside 50s. It sort of feels like the Blues.
This quarter?
Yeah, this quarter.
It is 14-5 in favour of Carlton.
Pies are having to do a lot of defending at the moment. Silvani in the ruck against Cameron. Cameron knocks it down to Pendlebury. Tackled by O'Brien, but squeezed to kick up the members' wing. Elliott tries to gather. Hand pass to Dacos. Under pressure from Doherty. He was taken high. And Collingwood a little bit fortunate to get a free kick there as Dacos plays on.
Dacos looks inside 50. Myercheck and Ginnivan both down there. Myercheck's got it.
A good mark, wasn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah.
Contested mark.
Out of position.
Just good use of the body to get rid of Lewis Young. It's going to be a big kick from here. He's already missed one outside 50 on the other side of the ground, and an easier set shot inside 50. Just got to start it just inside the right-hand post, let it drift back. He's certainly got the distance.
Slightly worse than a 45-degree angle. Left half forward. Brodie Myercheck. Superb drop punt. Sails goalward. He can't quite sneak it through. Catches a bit of the post. And a minor score for Collingwood. So 9-8 to 6-8. A 3-goal lead for the Blues. Half-hour mark, third term.
43-30 inside 50s Carlton way at the moment.
Patrick Cripps with 7 disposals in this third quarter. Assad kicks along towards Mackay, can't take the mark. His fellow forward Curno's there. He kicks the ball end over end around the members' wing, but Darcy Moore's the loose for Collingwood. Reloads inside 50. Myercheck crashes the pack. Stocker Camden into. It clears to the back where Saad gathers. Under pressure, it bounces away from Cox. Chera knocks it on. Noble after it at half forward for Collingwood. Can't gather. Chera pressuring him. Wins it for the Blues. Dragged down by Noble. Great tackle. Good contest from both players. And the umpire will board up just at the edge of the centre square. Collingwood just short of half forward, trailing by 18 points.
Chera's had a pretty good game. First one back. Missing with an adductor last week from the ball up. Pendlebury trying to hand it out. There's a free kick for a high tackle. It's Nick Dacos who's caught high.
Easily his best game for the year, Corby.
Yep.
Chera's been fantastic so far.
One of two Blues coming back in. His first year at Princes Park as Nick Dacos kicks inside 50, hands on it from O'Brien, had his arms chopped. Free kick, Carlton at half-back.
Well done, sitting back in the hole there. Not a position you want to be in when you're a small bloke sitting back in the hole with Collingwood forwards bearing down your neck, so well done going back with the fight.
This man a late in for Sam Walsh, who's missing today for just the second time after making his debut in 2019 as the long kick heads down the wing and O'Brien's kick marked by Mackay. And he looks back across the ground to Saad, who marks still at half-back.
Sides against going into the corridor and goes back to Harry Mackay. 32 minutes gone, but it's been a quarter which has featured 8 goals, so it'll run a long time. As Mackay goes short to O'Brien. So maybe a little bit longer than what the players might imagine. O'Brien kicks towards Cripps. He's in a wrestle with Maynard. Maynard reaches over, gets a fist onto it and spoils it out of play. Carlton by 18 points, 32 minutes gone, third term. Coming up after this match, we'll take you to Docklands for St Kilda and Sydney. Silvani to do the ruck work against Mason Cox. Thrown back in. Cox reaches over the top. Punches at boundary side. Bounces in front of Doherty and Josh Dacos. Dacos picks it up. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Under pressure. Setterfield lays the tackle. And locks the footy up at right half forward for the Blues.
Earlier today, the Dogs coming from 18 down to beat Hawthorn by 23. Dare say they'll be on their way back from the Upper Isle. I hope they got Wi-Fi up there. They need Collingwood to win to play finals, and at the moment it's Carlton by 18 points from the stoppage. Maynard kicks down the wing. There's a free for a hold again. It's going Carlton's way. And Louis Young's going to take it. An enormous third quarter from the Blues, having kicked only 2 goals in the first half. They've put 7 past Collingwood here to come from 20 down to lead it by 18. In the 34th minute of the third term, Doherty inside 50, Mackay flies, no mark, spills down to Martin, still in Carlton hands at half forward. Cripps, hand pass away to O'Brien, kicks long to Curnow, one out in the cage, getting back, Crisp lends a hand, he punches it towards the boundary line, and it bounces off the behind post, and as a result will have a boundary throw-in Forward pocket for the Blues. A massive Carlton quarter. They led it by 18 points, approaching three-quarter time.
Had 10 tackles inside 50, Carlton, so far this game.
It's big. Good pressure.
Big numbers.
The Blues had 2 goals to half-time. They've kicked 7 in the third quarter. Cox got rid of Mackay, couldn't get a clearing kick. It spills to Crisp. His short pass finds McCreary. Still inside the defensive 50 for Collingwood. 34 minutes gone, third term. Kicks out, looking for Noble on the members' wing. O'Brien went back with a flight, didn't give away the free kick and kept the footy in front of him. He taps it out of play. A few Carlton fans lean over the fence on the members' side with plenty of encouragement.
Clinchy, just there you could see the difference from the first quarter. The small forwards of Carlton really chasing out hard. Didn't allow their half-backs of Collingwood to get on the run, get the overlap going forward. Well done.
I'll get you to give us a snapshot for our listeners that might have joined late as to what the Blues have done in this third term. The Setterfield bounces off the Josh Dacos tackle, kicks towards Charlie Curnow, who almost crashed the pack. Darcy Moore gathers, hand pass to Nick Dacos, miss Pendlebury. Sard for the Blues is onto it. He squares it into the middle of the ground and Cottrell marks.
Cottrell's looking inside 50, wants Mackay, wrong foot's Howe. Howe follows up, spoils, but straight to Motlop for another. Yes! They've got something special cooking, Carlton. An 8-goal third term. Jesse Motlop kicks his second of the quarter, and Carlton move to 10-8-68. Collingwood 6-8-44. The Blues by 24 points in what is a 44-point swing in the game. 36 minutes played in the third term.
We don't get many opportunities when you're small forward, and what's expected of you is to really harass and pressure on the way out. But when you get your opportunities, you've got to make the most of it. And Jesse Motlop has been so clean today. He's only had the 6 disposals. He's kicked 2 goals, and there's 2 goals in this third quarter, where he's been in the right spot at the right time, where all small forwards should be, and that's front and centre. So for any young guys who are at the game watching, that's what you should be doing.
That's exactly right.
Just getting to the footy of your big tools and just being clean with the football. He's been fantastic.
From the Northern Territory in Western Australia to the MCG, the third time he's kicked multiple goals this season. Collingwood trying to get the clearance through Pendlebury, trying to knock it on to Maynard. McCreary read it best. He gathers back into the middle of the G to DeGoey, kicks inside 50. Meyer checking Elliott. Elliott can't take the mark as it bounces off his chest. Hoskin Elliott's there, tries to stand up in the tackle, but Wiedering's got him. And the umpire will ball it up. 25 metres out from Collingwood's goal at the punt road end. Carlton by 24 points. Having kicked 8 goals to 1 in this third term. Umpire throws it up. Cox and Silvani, neither with a decisive tap. Sard locked up by Maynard. And the siren sounds for three-quarter time. Carlton, having trailed by as much as 20 points, all of a sudden find themselves leading by 24 at three-quarter time. 10-8-68 to Collingwood, 6-8-44. The Blues leading by 24 points at three-quarter time. So many players with goals in that third quarter for the Blues, including Motlop, who kicked 2 himself, and Charlie Curnow, who kicked 2, and Cherub. All 3 of those players kicked 2 goals in that third quarter. 2 to Harry Mackay, individuals to Doherty and to Owies. Meanwhile, for Collingwood, 3 goals to Jack Ginnivan. He kicked their only goal of that third quarter. Individuals to Sidebottom, Crisp and Johnson. Three-quarter time at the MCG. The Blues leading by 24 points. Let's check in at Docklands, St Kilda and Sydney. Ben Cameron.
Sydney leading by 4 points as it stands at the moment. Clinchy 5-2-32 to St Kilda, 4-4-28. That's 7 minutes into the second term. Max King with 3 goals. As I mentioned, Chad Warner, a fantastic running goal for Sydney. But 4 points, that's the Swans' lead 8 minutes into the second.
Thanks, Ben. Ben Cameron keeping us across events at Docklands. Great to have your company on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Got a minute? Dip into StoryStream for quick, easy, real stories from across the country.
I was only 11. Apparently, I was qualified to be the translator.
When you're part of a team, you do it because you love it.
Even now, I just get a little bit giggly thinking about it. Oh, it's just so exciting.
Continuous, skippable Australian stories. Exclusive to the ABC Listen app.
I was going to say something else then, but anyway.
Blip. Look for StoryStream on the home screen of the ABC Listen app.
the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Right up, Pitnet knocks it forward. Silvani cannons into his own teammate and Cripps. It spills to Chera, who snaps on the left in the opening goal the way of the Blues. Pitnet tries to do the roving. Kicks towards half forward. Fisher knocked it on. Cleverly to Silvani. Hand pass to centre field. Long to Curnow. Moore spoils it down. Curnow at ground level. Can't get boot to it. Motlop swoops on the left. Kicks the goal. Cameron over the back to Pendlebury. Hand pass to Maynard. To Nick Dacos on 50. Over the top to Ginnivan. Can he go for goal? Turns on his left. Yes, he can. Ice cold.
Chera long kick inside 50. Mackay up in front, spills down to Martin, hands it to Cripps. Sweeping hand pass to Curnow. Standing start, 45 out. Curnow has got another for the Blues. Cottrell's looking inside 50, wants Mackay, wrong foot Howe. Howe follows up, spoils, but straight to Motlop for another. Yes!
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
3 quarters in the books, and Carlton playing for September lead Collingwood by 24 points, 10-8-68 to the Pies, 6-8-44, courtesy of an 8-goal-1 third term in which they went from trailing by 20 points to leading by 24 points with a quarter to play. Matt Clinch and Corbin Minimas calling all the action. Tim Hodges down on the boundary. The thoughts of your experts, Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy.
Well, they call it the Premiership quarter for a reason. I remember when I was a kid growing up as a Blues supporter, I was asked Dad, what's the Premiership quarter mean? That's where the Blues were nearly at their best. They'd just go whack in that third quarter, put scores on the board, and that's exactly what they did there. But it was off the back of their ability to win it in the contest. And at the moment, they're plus 47, 137 to 90 contested possession. Not one Collingwood player is in double digits. Granted that Carlton have only got one player in double digits, but he's on 20 contested balls. That's Paddy Cripps. We saw him go down earlier. Everyone was like, oh no, he's done his ribs. We won't see him again. He's out for the rest of the year. But tell you what, Jeremy Brereton is he's come back from the dead. Lazarus.
Hasn't he what? And didn't even need a jab to go get back in.
So you question how hard it was.
Yeah, question how hard it was. But you can't question Paddy Cripps. But I think it was just more the fact that when they did get tackled, they didn't cough it up, which in the first half they probably tried to flick it, whereas then they accepted the tackle, thought, well, we're just going to acknowledge that that's a good tackle, let's get a repeat stoppage and go from there, because their clearance work today, in the first half they were still leading by 10, but they weren't getting much bang for buck, whereas in that third quarter they got more yardage on it, they got the ball on the boot and gave their forwards an opportunity. And when you've got forwards like they have in Charlie Curnow and Harry Mackay, they don't need too many opportunities to show their wares, because there's some enormous talent down there. And then you see the likes of Jesse Motlop get to their feet and kick two himself. So I've just really enjoyed during that third quarter watching Zach Williams. He looked like he was back to his best.
Had no doubts. I know you were doubting him. I had no doubts.
I wasn't doubting him, but when you miss 13 weeks, there is a few questions. So I had a few questions, but he was terrific in that third quarter. I've really liked Liam Stocker's game on Jamie Elliott. That's been the matchup that has really blanketed Jamie.
What about this guy, Lewis Young? 10 intercept possessions. I reckon those three key backs in Young, Wiedering, Marchbank, and you could almost put McGovern into that to make it a foursome, but their ability at the moment to stand up, along with Williams, you spoke about, Sard giving him some dash, and Stocker as well on Jamie Elliott. They're the guys that basically set it up there in that third quarter.
But what we do know is that Collingwood will keep on coming. They play an aggressive brand anyway, but when you're 4 goals down, you've got to be even more so aggressive. So no doubt we'll see some fireworks here in this last quarter, and it's all set up for a ripper, because
a couple early.
Just the belief of Collingwood this year is enormous, and they just will keep on coming.
Live ladder has Collingwood down to 6, Carlton in the 8. Fremantle in the top 4. Here we go, final term. Carlton by 24 points. Pendlebury gets the clearance of Collingwood. Hand pass to Goey. Works it with Maynard. His kick is wide of Lipinski. Williams came charging in. Lipinski gathers to Ginnivan. The sidestep. The kick on the left to the goal line. Just denied as Young sees it through for a minor score. Carlton by 23 points. Opening 30 seconds of the final term.
Pies are, of course, the kings of the comebacks. They've won 6 games this year when trailing at three-quarter time.
That would have been a red-hot start, wouldn't it? Just to see that one. Add a little bit of spice.
They're never beaten the Magpies. It's Carlton by 23. The opening minute of the final term as the long exiting kick comes out from McGovern out to half-back. Spills down to Cripps. He just bangs it down to win for Carlton. Durden's onto it. He's off and running into open space. Kicks inside 50. Mackay hitting up. Spills the sprawling mark. More for the Magpies. Hand pass away to Crisp. The umpire's blowing advantage, telling them to keep going. Everybody stopped. Fisher for the Blues. Hand pass to Cripps. It's turned over. There's Crisper for Collingwood. Hand pass away to Lipinski, to Maynard, to Crisp. Collingwood back onto it. Nick Dacos to brother Josh, a little casual. He's mowed down by Mitch McGovern. Superb chase down tackle in the middle of the G.
He had a great game, Josh Dacos, but what was he doing there? Sunday stroll.
McGovern sees Fisher free on the members when he plays on, kicks it to him. Now the all-important kick inside 50. Curnow on the lead, can't take the mark. Front and centre, Murphy got it to Pendlebury. Hand pass over the top to Lipinski. Ran into a dead end. Fisher and Owies lays the tackle. Fisher kicks inside 50. Mackay up with his right arm, can't take the mark. And Quaynor with the support of Darcy Moore. Get it across the boundary line for a throw in the left forward pocket for the Blues at the Punt Road end. Carlton by 23 points.
Amazing third quarter for the Blues with 8 goals to 1 from the boundary throw-in. Pies have it through Nick Dacos. Crisp has a fumble. Loose footy, 20 out for the Carlton goal. Cameron grabs it, bangs it out of the defensive arc, but straight to McGovern. Marks for Carlton, 60 out. Crowded forward 50 to the Punt Road end. McGovern's just going to lay it up. Down in the direction of Cripps.
Shepherd.
The ball's going to be turned over. Cripps doesn't realise it as Murphy takes it out of his hands and an illegal Shepherd free kick for Collingwood.
Now, as Jack Silvani just basically made body contact and didn't even try and attempt the marking contest, so fair enough.
So Cameron has it last line of defence, sends it long towards half-back. Johnson's there, Marchbank in from the side, can't take the mark. Lipinski to Maynard, kicks towards a vacant half-forward line. Racing after it, Myercheck. Tapped to his own advantage by Young. Myercheck, little toe poke towards the boundary. How the umpire team this? Insufficient intent.
Wow.
Not sure that's a great feel for how close the game is, and the Blues will take the free kick.
Come on. That's rubbish.
He was being held as he threw a boot at it. Marchbank takes the free kick for Carlton. Kicks towards Pitnet and Cameron. Cameron spoils it down for Collingwood. Owies can't take it. In goes Cripps as he's done all afternoon. Trying to get the hand pass out to Pitnet. Can't pick it up. Elliott slides in. Fisher has a go. Might have thrown it to Pitnet. Got away with one. Kicks inside 50. Quaynor reaches over the pack. Punches it down. Cripps through traffic. Hand pass to Owies. Kicks to Curnow. Not sure it was intended for him. Charlie wastes no time. Steps out. Snaps on the right and misses. As Owies has downed off the ball. Carlton lead by 24 points. That would have been massive. Charlie Curnow 2-4 this afternoon. 4 go on final term.
So Darcy Moore spins the ball in his hands and then goes long from the kick out. It's intercepted by Louis Young, who's got it out of edge of the centre square. What a day he's had behind the ball for Carlton. Kicks inside 50. Bounces off Murphy's chest. Builds to Quaynor. Mackay tackles him and a ball up 20 out from the Carlton goal.
What a recruit Lewis Young's been for Carlton for really not much. Yeah, been fantastic all year.
Blues deep in attack. Thrown up. Mackay doing the ruck against Cameron. It spills down to him. Kick is smothered by Nick Dacos. Durden onto it. Swings onto the right. He misses to the right-hand side. 25 points, Carlton's lead. They've threatened in this final term.
They are firing some bullets at Collingwood here to start the last. There's more from the kick out, finds Cameron at centre half back. Cameron away to Lipinski, short kick to DeGoey. Can he take over this game? A superb drop punt out to McCreary, using the width of the G. Marks 70 metres out right half forward. High kick. Johnson's got a run at it. Over the top comes Louis Young. There's a free in the marking contest at Collingwood.
Not sure it was there completely. Wiedering was just trying to protect his space, just threw an arm back, but Johnson was ready to launch, wanted to sit on a head. He ran straight into that right arm of Wiedering. Not sure I agree with that, but I didn't agree with the deliberate one either. This one could have a Bit more of a price on it, though, with the shot on goal.
A bit more of a dangerous free kick, this one.
They've kicked only one goal after half-time and seen 8 go through at the other end. Ash Johnson, the 24-year-old, in just his 6th game of footy. Carlton's lead at 25 to try and wipe 6 off that. There's one to grow on for Collingwood. He pops it through, and the Pies get the first of the final term. Carlton by 19 points. The Bag is 10-10. The Magpies 7-9. Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy, Grandstand AFL.
Well, well done by the young fella, and only his 6th game to go back and kick that one straight through the middle. A little bit of a touchy free kick, but Carlton, it's hopefully for their sake they don't look back at the first 5 minutes of this last quarter and think about what could have been, because they've had a few not easy opportunities, but some chances that they would have liked to have capitalised on, because Charlie Curnow probably rushed his a little bit too much. Paddy Cripps and Jack Silvani's contest, giving away a free kick, and then Durden's miss as well, but it's all to play for here in the last.
You did say that he should play on, so he probably heard
He was listening to me, probably.
Carlton by 19 points. Paddy Cripps with 30 disposals, 23 contested. No one's had more than 9 on the ground apart from him. Doherty gets the clearance, kicks inside 50. Moore was able to spoil it away. A chance still for the Blues on 50. Owies to Durden. Tackle. Dispossessed. Crisp plays the tackle. Cottrell tries to rip it clear, but Jack Crisp on the bottom of the pack can't get the footy clear. And there's a bit of pushing and shoving off the ball. Charlie Curnow's involved. Cottrell. Nick Dacos, the umpire, sets it in the air. Cameron knocks it down. Here's Cripps. Jams it on the boot. Right forward pocket. Kicks towards Motlop and Murphy. Murphy juggles the mark. He marks 5 metres out from his defensive goal. Carlton by 19 points.
Short to Noble. Right back pocket for Collingwood. It's nothing that hasn't been said before, but Cripps' ability to walk through a tackle is jaw-dropping. Just an unbelievable presence that he has through traffic as Noble on the boundary line to side bottom. Hand pass to Lipinski. Leaves it for Howe, who runs along the boundary line. Chips it to McCreary over his head, and Wiedering takes the intercept mark for Carlton. Pulls it back inboard to Setterfield. Blues by 19. They're going forward again. Setterfield down to Mackay. He marks it left half forward. 52 out. Dishes off a hand pass to O'Brien. The left footer loads up, kicks it to the goal square. Motlop down there. Maynard punches it through. And a rush behind. Carlton by 20 points. 8 minutes played in the final term. A 40-point swing in the game after trailing by 20 in the first half.
Let's check into Docklands. St Kilda and Sydney. Ben Cameron.
Swans starting to break this game open. They've kicked the last 3. They lead by 23 points. Time on in the second.
Thanks, Ben. The kick in. Duties from Maynard towards half-back. No mark claimed as McCreary spotted Johnson. He takes the mark at right half-back. Sidebottom trying to get involved around the back. He was cut off by O'Brien, so Johnson will have to kick around the members' wing up towards Elliott. It's over his and Stocker's head. Running onto it, Young dribbles a hand pass around the boundary line. O'Brien with a kick back up the wing. Harry Mackay shoved out of it, and Howe takes the mark for Collingwood. Blues by 20.
Could he be the best player on the ground, Louis Young?
He could be. He's been fantastic.
Making a case.
Unbelievable. As Howe
he is.
kicks down to half forward, and there's Lewis Young.
Got his own ball.
Played finals last year with the Bulldogs. His last game for them was that semi-final against Brisbane. Didn't play in the prelim or the grand final. Traded over the summer to Carlton. And he's desperate to get back to September in his new colours. Hands it to Doherty. Goes long to the wing, but Noble in the box seat marks in front of his opposite number 9, the Carlton captain.
What he has been able to do is Collingwood are looking to go at every opportunity, really trying to get some speed on the ball, but they look up and there's Lewis Young or there's Jacob Wiedering. They just cannot get going.
Noble darts out to his left and then kicks to centre half forward. Johnson leaps up. It's Louis Young from the back who spoils down to centre field. Couldn't get a kick away. Spills to Maynard. Always locks him up. A ball up here. Attacking edge of the centre square. Almost centre half forward for Collingwood, coming home to the city end. It's Carlton by 20 points, 10 minutes into the last.
Thrown up, Cox and Pitnet. Cox wins down the tap, but it's Cripps once more. His kick is smothered. Lipinski can't get a disposal away. Cox tries to knock it onto DeGoey. Put his head down, try to cannon forward. He couldn't get the footy clear. And the umpire will ball it up 45 metres out from Collingwood's goal at the city end.
I'm going to ask the question about Louis Young, by the way. Patrick Cripps has 32, 25 contested, 12 clearances.
He might be hard to beat. Maynard, quick kick inside 50. Johnson couldn't take it. Zach Williams for the Blues. Kicks out of defence to Fisher and Noble in a tangle. Bounced off Curnow. Gathered by Sidebottom. Hand pass to Howe to Noble. Kicks inside 50. Elliott or Cox, and Mason takes the mark. Jamie Elliott was coming out of the lead. Mason Cox turned back and was able to take the mark in front of him.
I think I know who I'd rather have it in their hands, and I know who I reckon he was going for Jamie Elliott, but it just had that little tail on it, didn't it? Landed on Big Mason's chest, but
he's very good from 30 out though. Big Mason.
That's a Moz.
5 goals, 8
kick this.
so far this season for Mason Cox. Maybe the biggest kick so far this season. Cox comes in, pokes at it, and lets Stocker know about it. The biggest man on the ground gets involved, and Collingwood start their climb back. Carlton by 14 points. 10-11-71 to Collingwood 8-9-57. 11 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
Well, in these big games, Lids, you've got to take your opportunities, and at the moment, Carlton in this last quarter haven't taken their opportunities. They've been pretty wayward in front of goals, but Collingwood, and that great kick by Noble, who could have been excused just for going long and just dumping it inside your forward 50 when you're under pressure. In these big games, there's huge pressure, but to lower the eyes and see the lead up, smart ball use, but they're making the most of their opportunities at the moment, Collingwood.
Craig McKay taught him how to kick. He'd be happy with that one.
This is their season's work right here in the remaining 20 minutes as Cox wins the tap. Down towards Cripps, he's tackled, lost it. Silvani tried to clear, taken by De Goey. His hand pass back under a number of bodies which form alongside the centre circles, and a ball up. 12 minutes played, final term. Carlton by 14. Blues must win to play finals. They lose and the Dogs advance, while Collingwood for the double chance must win. Free kick in the middle. Ruck infringement going Collingwood's way. Pendlebury takes the advantage. Hand pass to De Goey. Kicks inside 50. On the hop to Jamie Elliott. Tackled by Stocker. Gets a kick away. Cottrell takes it for the Blues. His hand pass got Dessard. Sockers it out of the defensive arc. Cherry against the boundary line. Tumbles a kick down the wing for the Blues. Moore's up to meet it. Still in the front half for the Pies. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Between wing and half forward. Kicks into the pocket. Overcooks it. Myercheck collects but runs out of room. And a boundary throw in. He gets a shove from Louis Young, who goes back to pick up the Collingwood forward. The boundary throw in, forward pocket for the Magpies. Carlton by 14 points, 13 played in the last.
There's just so much riding on every contest, isn't there? Every disposal counts.
Hope you're enjoying the ride on Grandstand AFL. Thrown back in. Cox taps it down. Sard with the clearing kick for the Blues. Up to the wing. On top of Mackay. Can't take the mark. Moore spoils it down. Over the footy O's as Darcy Moore tries to knock it out for Collingwood. Noble taken high. As Harry Mackay tried to lay the tackle. John Noble to take the free kick on the southern wing. 13 minutes gone, final term. Veers out to the right. Carlton by 14. Kicks inside 50. Marchbank set himself. Couldn't take the mark. Young with a clearing kick straight back to where it came. Howe back with the flight. Can't take the mark. Martin crashed into an opponent in Howe. Won the ball for the Blues. Gathered by Curnow. Nothing further afield. So he works it back. Found Chera. He goes short to Cottrell. Same position. Outer wing. Blues by 14.
Unless the Pies can change the script here, they're headed towards a cutthroat final with Richmond. Oh,
beautiful.
As Cottrell goes short to Chera against the boundary line southern side. Still a bit to play out, and the players have a chance to change that story as Chera goes down to half forward and Curnow marks. Again wins a one-on-one, outmarking Murphy. Murphy retreats on the mark. Curnow still 70 from home. He looks into the pocket for his skipper. Cripps got hands to it. No mark. Quaynor knocks it out of play. And a boundary throwing 30 out from the Carlton goal.
That'll be an exciting game, Corb. Jeez, will this place be rocking?
And Carlton, they would be playing Brisbane under the current scenario, but there's a whole lot of footy still to be played. 15 minutes gone in the final term.
You've gone early. Thrown back in. Cox wins down the tap and then volleys a kick out of the defensive 50. Sard for the Blues. Hand pass to Doherty. Back to Sard. Right half forward. Cottrell retreats back to Wiedering. On the wing. Kicks inside 50. Curnow can't get a run at it. Mason Cox almost took the mark and then played on. Tackled. Lost it. Comes away Silvani. Squares it up. Down low. O'Brien just got his fingers underneath it. Takes the mark just outside 50.
Just needs to be composed here. Doesn't need to rush himself. He's about 60 out.
He can't seriously have a shot, can he?
I think he can. He can run to 50 and have a shot.
Jack Ginnivan has to stand on the mark, so he veers out to the left, gets every inch, goes bang, and just misses to the left. Maybe he knew better than I. He got the distance comfortably. Carlton by 15 points, 16 minutes gone, final turn.
Hanging for just a moment like that for the crowd just to erupt. Collingwood either keep coming or Carlton finish him.
Pies with their top 4 hopes on the line. Long kick in the middle of the ground from Howe. Bounces alongside the centre circles. Silvani tackled by Johnson, lost it. And Williams for the Blues. Hand pass to Saad, kicks wide for O'Brien. He missed moments ago with his long-range set shot. Comes out wide to Doherty. He's been enormous again. Marks in front of the Collingwood interchange. What a season he's had. A 15-point lead for the Blues. 16 gone in the last. Heads out wide. Mackay. Over 3 bodies. Rips it down on half forward for Carlton.
Jamie Elliott's junction here.
It is, isn't it? Wrong side for him as a lefty, but tell you what, his arms just extend, don't they? Like across the pack. His body seems like it's way out of position, but his arms just keep going.
Well, he's just too big, so if you just put it out in space, he can do the rest and just got long arms.
Mackay's 55 out. Hard against the fence at left half forward. Starts it out to the left. He'll be lucky to score. Just sneaks it in for a behind. Carlton by 16. 17 and a half travelled final turn.
Half-time at Docklands, St Kilda and Sydney. Ben Cameron.
Yeah, the Swans lead by 22 points at the half, Clinchy. 9-3-57 to 5-5-35.
Thanks, Ben. Howe straight down the middle to Moore. He kicks towards half forward. In from the side. Marchbank gets a fist onto it. Spoils it away from Johnson over the boundary line for a throw-in.
It's amazing how much this means to so many teams. Who Geelong plays in the quali, if Freo make the top 4, what it means for Brisbane, who are their opponents, who are Richmond going to play, not just, obviously, Collingwood for a top 4 spot and Carlton just to make it.
Second last game of the home and away season. What a great season we've had. Cox can't get a tap onto it. Spills to Doherty. Tackled. Somehow released the footy. McCreary on the wing for Collingwood. Retreating back to Howe. Cannon into Chera, who laid the tackle. Spills to Curnow. Kicks inside 50. Quaynor against 2 Blues. He gathers against the boundary. Great composure. Hand pass to Moore. Not as slick. Sliding in Motlop. Fisher spins out of traffic to Charlie Curnow. Jams it on the right. Misses to the left. Carlton by 17 points. 2-5 for Charlie Curnow.
Still haven't had that moment.
No, we need to put a seatbelt on Mark Murphy. He's going to jump out of his box.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
You build your reputation on these games, and Adam Chera, everyone's talked about his year being a little bit disappointed. He's been fantastic today and just so tough in that last contest.
Carlton have kicked 6 behinds in the final turn. Yet to register a goal in the quarter. It's Carlton by 17. The Pies working up with the wing. Side bottom to the outer corridor. Lipinski hand pass to Nick Dacos to brother Josh. Hand pass away to Quaynor. He wants to go inside 50. Carlton well set up. Quaynor's just going to lay it up. Try and mark that. A big leap. Elliott! Jamie Elliott rips it down from the sky. What a grab up into the back of Louis Young. And a big-time player, Jamie Elliott, will have a set shot from 30 out, dead in front.
Well, it hasn't been his days. He's been blanketed by Liam Stocker, but these are the moments when you're playing small forward that you've got to make the most of, and what a grab.
To back up the mark and to make it a brand new game. In he comes. Big game. Billy pops it through. Carlton's lead cut to 11. As we tick into time on in the final turn. Carlton 10-14, 74. Now it's the Blue Baggers trying to hang on. Collingwood 9-9, 63. The Pies with the only 3 goals of the final turn.
Well, as that was coming in, I was like, oh, maybe Quain he's not getting enough purchase on this, and I'm looking Johnson forward of the footy. He's going to launch. And here comes Jamie Elliott. Well, we know his high-flying exploits. That's a massive catch in the context of this game, late in the game, but then to go back, ice cool. We know he's got that in his bag as well. Knocks him through for fun. It's a big catch with big goal as well. 11 points. Oh, it's getting a bit of spice, Corby.
2 scores is nothing in this game with the way centre bounces work.
Great to have your company on Grandstand AFL. Matt Clinch, Corbin Middlemass, Tim Hodges, Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio with you. Back in the middle, Cameron and Pitnet in a tangle. Spills to Chera. What a blue game he's having. Kicks towards Durden. He's worked out of it by Quaynor. Intercept mark for Collingwood at halfback. Kicks into the middle of the ground. To Goey Marks. Hand pass over the top to Lipinski. He plays on. Got the hand pass to Quaynor. Durden, good chase. Works it forward to Josh Dacos. Kicks wide for Cox. He lumbers after it. Gathers in the left forward pocket. Trying to get boot to ball. He hand passes to Pendlebury. 50 out. Dragged down almost by Cripps. Gets it to McCreary. Hard against the boundary.
No.
He kicks. He kicks the goal. What a finish. Bone McCreary, the lad from South Australia, brings it within a kick, and Carlton lead by 5 points. Collingwood, with 4 goals to none in the final term, the Blues have kicked 6 behinds, and they're hanging on by a 5-point margin. Collingwood 10-9-69, Carlton 10-14-74. We've seen this a few times with Collingwood. They couldn't do it, could they?
Well, you'd have to back them, wouldn't you, Clinchy? From where they've come from throughout this year, they're like cockroaches. Yeah. They just don't die. You just continue to keep coming at you. What I love there was the composure of Pendlebury. He just knew that he had players around him, and he almost sucked them all in. Yeah, come at me. There's Bo McCreary. Yeah. I'll give it to you on your right side, and just summed it up beautifully. That's a great finish, but as it always is, right out near the race, that's where they always kick him.
That's as hard a pocket you can kick it from there too.
It's a one-score game. Carlton by 5 points. Back in the middle. Cripps is tackled. Still got it out to Chera. To the big man. Pitternet looks inside 50. Mackay got himself in front. Pressure from Moore on set play on. Moore hands it to Howe. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. His kick chopped down by Pitternet. Loose ball middle of the G. Cripps wins it for Carlton. Hand pass to Martin. Sweeping hand pass out to O'Brien. Puts Carlton inside 50 again. Great spoil Maynard. Knocks it out of play. And a boundary throw in. Left half forward for Carlton, 50 metres out from their goal. The Baggers by 5 points. We are 23 minutes into the final term with it all on the line.
He's a star braid Maynard, isn't he?
Can we get a heart rate check on you, though, please?
Mark Murphy's jumping in his chair in the commentary box, like we all are. Thrown back in, Cameron and Pitnet knocks it down to Doherty, kicks Carlton into attack. Kerno, Maynard with another fist in there. Worked his way to the front and spoils it out of play. Left forward pocket. Craig on the SMS. Grandstand's made it even better, and I'm a Hawks fan. Thanks for the call. Marcus, first half on the train to Ballarat, second half on the bus to Ballarat. Hate both teams, but loving the call. Awesome game from Graham in Perth. Great call. I'm a Freo supporter cheering on the Blues. Toss back into play. Cameron knocks it down for Collingwood. It spills out. Quick kick out of the congestion. It's marked by O'Brien. As Cameron got the kick forward, O'Brien goes short to Doherty. He marks it left half forward for the Blues. Carlton by 5 points. Holding the footy is okay for them. Kicks to the pocket, looking for Harry. It's too wide. Out of bounds on the full. Collingwood to take it back through. Darcy Moore in the right back pocket with 24 minutes gone in the final term.
7 times since round 13 the Pies have come from 3 or more goals down to win. They're trying to make it 8 here. An amazing season as the kick from Moore goes across the goal mouth to Howe. And both teams in different stages have been in winning positions. Just the way we like it as a neutral footy fan. As Howe finds Ginnivan at halfback. 25 gone final term. Carlton by 5 points. Ginnivan long kick inside the centre square. Reaching for it. Cameron Mark not paid. Hurry kick to half forward. Wiedering's back to save the day for Carlton. Kicks down the wing. And the mark taken by Marchbank. A chance to breathe for Carlton. 3 minutes and change on the game clock. The Baggers by 5 points.
Well, what have they learnt from last week, Carlton?
Yes.
Similar position.
Collingwood with the only 4 goals of the final term. Marchbank long down the line. Mackay flies. Can't take the mark. Pendlebury with all his experience inboard to Josh Dacos. Kicks over the head of Lipinski. Onto it O'Brien for the Blues. Hand pass to Fisher to Doherty. Jams it on the boot. Inside 50. Quaynor underneath. Moore spoils it in the middle of the ground. Josh Dacos gathers. Back edge of the centre square. Looks out wide to the southern wing. Ginnivan the target. Marchbank spoils it down. To Goey crumbs it. Hand pass over the top. Hoskin Elliott didn't get the bounce. Onto it Cottrell. The Blues take it back at right half back. Kicks around the southern wing. Mackay takes the mark. That all-important bounce of the oval footy.
Still 2 minutes 20 to go. Carlton by 5 points. The kick from Mackay down to Curnow. And he says, everybody just chill out. 70 out against the boundary line at right half forward.
There it is. There it is. Oh.
Told to go. He's just going to go with a contest kick. A high ball inside 50. Cripps down there. Pack forms. Spills to Nick Dacos at Collingwood. Hand pass to Maynard. Kicks into centre square. Mark taken by Pendlebury. Here go the Pies on the counter attack. Down 5. Kicks for Ginnivan. 1-on-1 with Saad. He shepherds. It's through to Elliott. Of course it's Elliott. On the run. It's happening again. It's happening again for Collingwood. And for Carlton, the Pies are in front by a point with 27 minutes elapsed in the final term. 11-9-75, Carlton 10-14-74 in front of 90,000 plus. Carlton's finals hopes are shaky again and the Pies' top 4 ambitions are back on.
I can't believe what we've just seen there, from looking like an easy hit-up lead to going in long. And just the way in which they moved the ball then, Collingwood straight through the middle. And had numbers out the back too. They could have ruffled it. But
that was so good. I've got goosebumps. I'm sitting next to a pancake in Mark Murphy. There's still time, Murph. We can come back from here.
1 minute 43 to go. September on the line for the Blues. Top 4 for the Pies, and it comes down to this. In the middle of the ground, tap goes the way of Lipinski. He squeezes a kick out towards half forward. It's wide, the foot race is on. Awkward bounce for Cottrell. Saad gathers, tackled by Ginnivan. Got it to Cripps, kicks into the middle of the ground. Pitnet back to Cripps, runs into a dead end. Tackle laid by Pendlebury, gets it to Williams. Kicks out wide for Doherty, right half forward. Quaynor tries to corral him, kicks up forward to Durden. Here's Carlton's chance.
A draw gets Carlton in. If they get 2 points, they will advance.
27 minutes gone. 1 minute to go. He kicks to the pocket. Who to? And Jeremy Howe takes an uncontested mark in the left back pocket. Collingwood by a point.
Final minute on the game clock. Carlton need a score to go to September. As Howe goes long to a contest at half-back, it's knocked towards the boundary line. Cottrell can't keep it in. And a boundary throw in, 60 out from the Carlton goal. Collingwood by a point.
Current score has Bulldogs in, so a point won't do it.
From the boundary throw in, Collingwood lead it by 1. If Carlton can get a draw, they'll go through. Cripps tries to walk through the tackle. He's caught holding the ball. Free kick for Collingwood at half-back. They've got it in a slow play and a chance to let the clock bleed out.
What's happened here?
And there's a blood rule as Scott Pendlebury will start to jog from the southern side of the ground towards the interchange. Collingwood lead it by a point. 29 minutes elapsed in the final term. The Pies up by 1.
You can't blame Paddy Cripps there, trying to take the game on. Burst through a tackle. It's what he's done all day.
So you'd imagine Murphy running onto the field is gesturing that there's 35 seconds to go, or if he isn't, he's trying to tell everyone what the scenario is. It'll allow Carlton to make sure it's one-on-ones further afield. And we wait about a minute for Josh Dacos to get the footy. Left half back. Collingwood by a point. Thought about giving it around the back to Howe. Dacos just kicks it as long as he can. Up to the wing. Johnson crashed the pack. It spills to Wiedering. Kicks towards half forward. Awkward bounce for Fisher. Cripps can't gather. Noble got it to Nick Dacos. Knocks it boundary side. Hoskin Elliott turns back inboard. Drives Collingwood towards half forward. Time starting to run out. Young in the pack. Can't take the mark. He gathers. He's bumped by Lipinski. It spills to Noble. The siren's going to sound. Chera gathers. There it is. There it is. Collingwood record a famous victory. They win by a point. They come from behind to kick the last 5 goals of the match, and they deny the Blues September for the first time since 2013. It's the cruelest way to miss out. It's ecstasy for Collingwood in front of 88,287 fans. The Collingwood-Carlton rivalry, it's reignited.
Side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
The Magpies led by 20 points at quarter time, by 19 at halftime, and then the Blues went on a run, kicking 8 goals to 1 in the third term. They got out by 24 points at three-quarter time, and it seemed like they were heading to September. But Collingwood, as they have all season, have never given up, and they found a way to fight back. They booted the last 5 goals of the match to the Blues 6 behinds to win 11-9-75 to Carlton 10-14-74. The Bulldogs are into finals.
Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
This never say die attitude under Craig McRae continues on. And for Carlton, it's 4 losses to finish the home and away season, and they'll just miss out on September, finishing 9th by 0.6 of a percentage point. And Collingwood come from behind to earn a top 4 finish. What have we just seen? For Collingwood, 3 goals to Jack Ginnivan, 2 to Elliott. They both came in the final term. 2 to Johnson. Individuals to Sidebottom, to Crisp, to McCreary and to Cox. Meanwhile, for the Blues, their goals, 2 to Mackay, 2 to Curnow, 2 to Chera, 2 to Motlop, individuals to Doherty and to Owies. Collingwood winners by a point in front of 88,287 fans. They come from behind to win the double chance. The Blues miss out on September.
Wow. I'm not usually that keen on that Collingwood chant, but it's something pretty special about hearing a faithful, get behind their team. That's one of the most exciting games I've ever been involved in for a team that I'm not supporting. That was amazing.
It may be the biggest and best home and away game we've ever seen. With the stakes and everything on the line, 88,000+ here at the MCG. I'm not sure it gets better than that.
No, it had everything, didn't it? It looked like Collingwood at half-time were just going to not run away with it, but they just looked like the superior side. And then we saw a third quarter where Carlton just looked irresistible, piling on goal after goal. And that last quarter, Carlton had their opportunities. Even with 2 or 3 minutes to go, they still had some opportunities just to really ice the clock and play it smart, and still made some crucial errors. And then for Jamie Elliott, who, we've obviously seen him this year kick one from after the siren, but to get on the end of that one and put that through and to sink Carlton and to seal the top 4 spot. What a finish from Jamie Elliott.
So the ramifications of that are enormous. So just on the Jamie Elliott kick, it means Collingwood make the top 4.
Yep.
Carlton miss the finals. The Western Bulldogs make it. Richmond find themselves in Brisbane for an elimination final against the Lions. Fremantle miss the top 4, and so as a result, they're going to finish 5th. They will play the Bulldogs in an elimination final, and it means that Collingwood have a date with Geelong in a qualifying final.
The Dogs are all watching the game at Whitten Oval. They're going nuts as they see the full-time siren go. They're in finals and the Blues miss out. There's no smaller margin.
On one kick. Just amazing. Patrick Cripps has just been named best of field, so I don't think anyone's going to question that as Collingwood win by a point. 35 touches, 27 contested. Let's have a listen.
Playing this game, we've had one of our best mates go through a tough battle this year, and it means so much to our group. To Collingwood, I wish you guys all the best. Admire what you guys have done this year, so go to the finals. And lastly, I'd just like to thank all the fans who come out today, especially the Carlton supporters. Sorry couldn't get a dump in today. Thanks.
Carlton captain Patrick Cripps, there's not more he could have done. 35 disposals, 27 contested, 12 clearances, 8 inside 50s.
He's had a day. Yeah, he's had an absolute day, Clinchy. He's tried to carry his team over the line.
Now we're about to wrap up, so I might need a 3, 2 and 1 for the ABC Footballer of the Year. Can you fire them off in 50 seconds, Merv?
I'm going to have to try to, won't I? 3 votes goes to Paddy Cripps. Obviously was fantastic today. Just single-handedly almost got his team across the line. Sam Dockley, I thought, was terrific as well.
Yep, 2 votes, and I think 1 vote there. Josh Dacos from Collingwood.
So they're the votes from Mark Murphy in the ABC Footballer of the Year. We're going to take you straight to Toplands because obviously top 2 is on the line for Sydney and St Kilda. So to Joel Peterson, Jess Webster, Brad Saul, Luke Paul and Lauren Borden, we're going to get an interview hopefully from both the Collingwood and the Carlton rooms. We'll bring it to you. But Collingwood winners by a point. 11-9-75 to the Blues, 10-14-74. It felt like September. Bring it on.